Well, happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of the live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry, and I'm here to help answer your lawn care questions. If this is the first time you're gracing us with your presence, welcome. Super happy to have you here. The way this works is super simple. On your screen, you will see a chat box. In that chat box, you enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not. But either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care. Guys, so again, you guys know that tonight is a special, we're doing it on Thursday night, and this is not our normal time. Tomorrow is like martial arts weekend, so it's black belt test tomorrow, and then the tournament on Saturday. I'll be competing, so wish me luck. We'll see. And yeah, so yeah, let's get into what you guys have going on as far as longer questions. We got some cool stuff to cover, some cool pictures from viewers from last week. So let's do this. All right. So from Instagram, we got Papa Mo's Low in the house, Moro's in the house, Xavier's in the house. Everyone's saying hey. We are coming to you guys on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and the Facebook. So get those questions queued up, get those likes up, and let's get moving. All right. So first up, we got MC. She's reaching out to me, says happy Friday, everyone. And to Ron, says I emailed you my soil test on Tuesday. Bermuda lawn in Georgia, low phosphorus, boron, and iron. And then high magnesium. Everything else is good. So what the viewer's talking about is she emailed me on Tuesday, and I did respond. I thought I didn't, but I actually did respond because I found the email. And so what I recommended to her was, based on her soil test results, was the complete fertilizer and then Nutrizolve to pair with it. So again, yeah, hopefully that makes sense to you, MC. And if you have any follow-up questions, definitely let me know. So yeah, based on her soil test results, that made a lot of sense, and that's what I sent her way. So guys, if you guys ever email me, right, and I don't respond normally within 2 days, it's not because I'm ignoring you, not because I don't like you. It's because I get a lot of email and I may have missed it. I may have started to respond or got pulled away doing something else. So if like 2 days goes by and you don't have a response from me, then just feel free to email me again. You're not going to bug me. I'm not going to be mad at you saying, "Hey, why are you spamming my inbox?" It's literally because I have a lot going on, especially this week, like helping to plan the tournament and everything else. And so this week has been very, very busy. All right. So next up, MC says, any suggestions on what I can use to help the grass/soil? I was thinking either a balanced fertilizer or starter fertilizer. Ideas? Yeah. So, good question. So something I can, and I put this in the email that I recommended to you, but on the golf course lawn store, if you go to our shop and then lawn fertilizer section, a great balanced fertilizer that is, that can act as a starter fertilizer. It overall has a bit of everything. So your nitrogen, your phosphorus, your potassium, a bit of humic acid, a bit of kelp. So as far as like being a biostimulant and a fertilizer all in one product, it's really hard to go wrong with the complete 14-7-14. This is what I wrote back to you in your email that I would recommend that you go with. This is a good example or a good idea if your goal is fertilizer, right? You want something that's going to be like a fertilizer. Now, if your goal is just to improve soil quality, you don't actually want to add a fertilizer, then you could go with Essential G. So that's under shop and under the biostimulant section, and then Essential G is what I would say to go with. This you can really apply every month. You can apply it on the same day as your fertilizer. It's not a fertilizer, so there's no chance of it damaging or burning your grass. And just for you guys to know that Essential G, to kind of help improve shipping times on this product, we are moving to a different warehouse. You'll see there's a note there that if you place any orders, they're going to ship the middle of next week. So just give you guys a heads up. I mean, your stuff is still queued up. It's going to ship. You're going to be the first ones to get your order out as soon as the shipment arrives and is all boxed up. But the middle of next week is when we anticipate that it will go out. So good stuff there. So I hope that helps, MC, as far as your question around what you can use as a balanced fertilizer, and then also what you can use as a soil improvement, like a biostimulant in the case of Essential G. So they're both easy to apply. There's spreader settings on the bags or on the bags, and also in the product descriptions for both of them. So hopefully that helps. Great question. All right, got VMH up next. He says, "Hey Ron, a happy Thursday. What's going on, VMH? Hopefully you're doing well, sir. Hopefully you're getting out there and playing with that core aerator that you built. It's a really nice piece of equipment, and and hopefully that you're getting out there and putting some work in with it. On the topic of core aeration, guys. Today, a blog on that topic, on the topic of core aeration, was launched. If you guys want to see it, you can just go again to the store. You go to guides, and then the blog section. If this loads, I don't know what it is. You have to wonder why this happens during right now. There we go. Come on. All right. So under blog, the first one, the newest one up, is how to core aerate your lawn. If you guys remember the video that I shot last year on core aeration, where I showed like some tips around watering ahead of time, the ways to run a powered core aerator so where you get it done faster with a lot less work. All of that has been distilled into this blog post that went live today. So if you guys are interested in understanding the benefits of core aeration, some tips to help you get a good result, the best time to core aerate, the video that I'm talking about is in there, how to prepare your lawn for it. And again, it's a relatively short read, a little joke around, whether you should pick up cores or not pick up cores, because that's obviously a big topic of debate. Every time I make a video on core aeration, there's always someone in the comments that says, "Oh my, you're not picking up cores, you're committing this cardinal sin." And you have another contingent that says, "No need to pick up cores, they break down anyway." So you guys know me, I like to have fun. So there you go. There's a new blog post on that topic. Also talks about things you can do after core aerating. So like for fertilizing your lawn, introducing biostimulants like Essential G, and there you go. So I'll put a link to that in the chat for you guys to take a look at after the live stream is over. And it'll also be in the description, and it'll be the pinned comment at the end of the show today. So any of you guys watching this after the fact, you'll be able to see that as well. So hopefully you guys enjoy it as much as we had creating it, as much fun as we had creating it. So yeah, check it out. Now's the time of year to start thinking about that. There's tons of benefits to core aeration. I get emails from viewers fairly often saying, I've got this hard clay compacted soil, and just water just runs off of it. I can't get anything to penetrate. Core aeration is a great way to do that. Now it's a lot of work. As far as like a workout, it's not something that it's not the most fun job, but the benefits is that it yields to your turf, reduced compaction, better air penetration, better water penetration, If you're going to fertilize your lawn or use a biostimulant like Essential G, it fast tracks that into the soil. So there's really no negatives to it other than the work of doing the job. So it's one of the best things you can do for your lawn. I aerate my lawn at least once a year, and it's just a great thing, something you should put on your to-do list. Even if you don't do it yourself, figure around this time of year in Georgia and definitely into next month, you're going to start seeing services that are going to be sticking signs out and saying they'll do the service, they'll do it for you. So that's an option as well. If you don't want to aerate your lawn yourself, you can always have someone else come out and do it. The only thing I would say is if they come out and you're there, you can ask them to allow you to rinse the machine or rinse the tines off, clean the tines off before they do your lawn, because often the services that do core aeration, they'll go from lawn to lawn to lawn. They try and like knock a bunch of them out. And what you don't want is that the potential of spreading disease or some other problem that the lawn they just came from or lawn they just came from a few lawns ago into your lawn. So it's an important part of using an aerator, especially if you're renting one or having a service do it, is that they clean them equipment before they come and bring it onto your lawn. Because you just don't want to be introducing problems that you didn't have before. So good stuff. Hopefully you guys find that blog post fun and useful. It's the time of year to start thinking about it. And yeah, give me some feedback, whether you guys like it. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, let me know that too. Let me know how it can be better. Always looking for feedback on how the content, both the video and the written content, can be better. So, all right, next up, we got Mr. Jason Harrison in the house. He says, hey, y'all. I got my groups 3 and 11 fungicides down and watered in to battle the patches. Also, did my mid-month spray this morning so the rains tonight and tomorrow can water it in. Smash that like button. Appreciate that, Jason. Yeah, so this is the time of year, man. This is when disease can start rearing its ugly head in your lawn. I've got a small area there, or I got an area in the front lawn there that I'm contending with. The neighbor next to me has some large patch starting to go in there, starting to wake up in their lawn. So if you have a history of disease or you see something like a spot forming in your lawn, don't wait. Get a fungicide down now to arrest the spread of whatever is attacking your lawn, so that it can heal. So Jason's using a group 3 and group 11 fungicides. There's a couple different options for that out there. We offer Headway G, which is a granular. I'll show you that real quick. We offer Headway G, which is a granular fungicide. I believe it's a group 11 and group 3 fungicide. So azoxystrobin and propiconazole. So if you go to the shop and then fungicide and insecticide section, you will see Headway G. This covers up to 15,000 feet, but also new on the fungicide route. This new for this week, we have launched a liquid fungicide. A question I've got since last year was, hey, the granulars are great, but I would like to have a liquid fungicide option because some of you guys like to spray your products instead of have to use a broadcast sprayer to put them out, which I completely get. So you asked, we delivered. We're now offering Pillar SC. This is from BASF. This is an excellent fungicide. It's a newer formulation. I believe it was released last year. So we wanted to see what the feedback was on it, what the response was on it before we offered it on the store, because we want to make sure that anything we offer that is going to be a great product to perform well for you. The cool thing about this, guys, is that I've got a bottle right here I can show you. Cool thing about this is that there is one application rate. If you ever look at like a Headway G or most fungicides, you read through the label and they'll be like, well, if you have brown patch, it's one thing. If you have fairy ring, it's another thing. If you got dollar spot, it's another application rate. With this, there is one. There's one. It's 1 ounce for 1,000 square feet. So the bottle is 43.5 ounces, which if you're a lawn nerd or you're a turf nerd, 43,500 square feet is an acre. So one of these bottles treats an acre, which is pretty cool. So it's easy to measure whether you're using it as a preventative or as a curative fungicide. The application rate is the same: 1 ounce with a gallon of water. Well, actually, 1 ounce over 1,000 square feet. When you're doing a fungicide, you will go up on the amount of carrier. So ideally, the label says between 2 to 4 gallons. I do 2 gallons. So if you had a 4-gallon backpack sprayer, you'd put 2 ounces of this in with 4 gallons of water and spray that over 2,000 square feet. So you want a bit more carrier, a bit more water whenever you're using a fungicide. So that is what this the label calls for. So super excited about this Pillar SC. We now have another option for fungicides, a liquid fungicide, and it's per application. It's less expensive. I mean, it's the cost of the product is more than Headway, but it covers a lot more than Headway G, and it's also it's a newer formulation. It's got the active ingredients in it. They're group 3 and 11, and there's starts with a T. Let me tell you here. So it's tritroconazole. So in Headway it's propiconazole. So in this is tritoconazole, And then the second active ingredient is pyraclostrobin. So I'm so used to saying azoxystrobin, propiconazole. It's difficult to say something different, but they're group 3 and group 11 fungicides, much like Headway, but it's now in a liquid form. And yeah, it's now available on the golf course lawn store. So if you're looking for a fungicide and you want to go the liquid route, you got another option. So there you go. Hopefully, whatever you got going on in your lawn clears up quickly, Jason. I know lawn disease stinks, and you just, it's one of those things, kind of like insect damage. Better to prevent it than cure it after the fact. But it looks like you're on top of the ball, and you're knocking it out, or you're at least getting ahead of the game before it gets too far out of control, which is exactly what you want to do. All right. Thank you for also leading the smash the like button charge. Also, I have a super chat. Let me get down here and get that really quick. I see one here. I thought I saw one. Yep, from Fred J 627. So let me get you up here, Fred, real quick. He says, "Thanks for your constant help. Have a great show. I appreciate that, Fred." And let me make sure I actually spell your name right. Fred J 627. And there you go, sir. Your name in lights, for whatever that means to you. I appreciate the super chat, sir. Thank you so much.
Super chat received.
Appreciate it. All right. Next up, we have Funny Footlong. It's a great name. So are you like a sandwich person? Who's it that has Footlong in their branding? Is it Subway? I think it's Subway. Just talks about the Footlong all the time. He's all right. He says, "Evening, Ron. I had the question last week regarding the max phosphorus application rate per 1,000 square feet per application. I do remember that. Did you ever find anything about it? Purdue says max is 1,000 is 1 pound per 1,000 square feet, and K-State says max is 2. So looking into this, I did see the same thing. There are two different. Some people say 2 pounds per 1,000. Some people say 1 pound per 1,000. I would lean towards, me. I would lean towards the lower end. I don't know that I've ever applied a pound of phosphorus in my lawn at any given time. If you look at the application rate whenever you're doing the complete 14,714. Let's see, if you take like 4 times 0.07, you're putting, I think multiply times 0.07. Yeah, you're applying like a quarter, just over a quarter, about a third of a pound of nitrogen if you apply it. Of phosphorus if you apply it at the rates that we recommend on the store. So I definitely tend towards the lower end. If you're trying to build up your phosphorus, if you want to go a little bit heavy that first time, sure. But if there's nothing wrong with just doing it over the course of the season. Phosphorus, unlike nitrogen and potassium, it's less immobile. It doesn't go away as quickly in your soil once you've got levels built up. So there's no reason to have to do it, super quickly if you don't. There's no harm in doing it over time, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Your lawn throughout the growing season is going to need phosphorus. It's going to need potassium. So if you have a fertilizer that can also introduce some phosphorus over the course of the season, you're going to build those levels up. And by the next few months, you'll be right where you need to be. So yeah, that is what I would lean towards the lower end, the pound, kind of like with nitrogen. A pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet per month is what conventional wisdom says. I typically don't get that high or anywhere near that high. So same thing for your phosphorus levels. If I would say go bias towards the lower end of the recommendation, and you can just continue to make phos apps over the course of the season. Again, you'll build up those levels over time. So good question. It was a new one that I hadn't gotten before. So thanks for asking that one last week. Maybe do some research. And yeah, I agree with the lower, or I would recommend going with the lower rate. With the lower rate. Just because you can do something doesn't necessarily mean you should do something. Just because you can go really high doesn't mean necessarily that you need to, especially for a macro that is, again, that hangs around in the soil much longer than nitrogen and potassium does. So, all right, we got Alex Lee in the house. He's also chiming in here. He's from on the Instagram. What's going on, Alex? Hopefully you're doing well, sir. All right, next up, we have the Jackie Bear. He says, "Brother Ron, let's roll." All right, let's do it, man. I'll tell you, it's been a busy week. I will be very happy when it is this time next week because the tournament will be done, the competition will be done. I'll be planning the next live stream. It'll be behind. It'll be great, and that'll be that. I try and enjoy every moment and enjoy everything that life throws at me. But there's times when I just want it to be over, and this is one of those things where I just want it to be done. All right. Next up is Higgy Pop. He says, "Hey, Ron. Happy Thursday. My order arrived today. That was lightning fast. Now I have to wait for the rain to stop so I can apply it." Yeah, Higgy, we do try to get things out as quickly as possible. especially if you're in Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, you're one of the neighboring states, you tend to get your products, your orders a little more quickly. There are some changes being made with some of the Miramichi granulars. So you guys will notice that you're likely getting like the 444, the new organic fertilizer faster. You're getting carbonized PN faster, and now we're doing the same thing now with Essential G, to where that's going to speed up the delivery time on that as well. So just as like everything goes, trying to refine the process to to try and get you guys what you want, when you want it, actually faster than you expect it to get there. That's exactly what we want. So what you're saying, what your experience was, Higgy, is what I want everyone to have. So, but yeah, we gotta wait for the rain to stop. And as you can tell, I'm dealing with the same thing here, man. This is a picture of the back lawn literally before the show. You can't really see there, but the right edge of the patio is wet because it was raining. And there's a little short clip I shot. So this is what the lawn looks like as of an hour ago. It might look better than that now. It might look a little bit worse, but as an hour ago, that's how it looked. So you see we have a little bit of rain coming down here in Georgia, nice little light rain, which is nice. It's exactly what I like. Not too heavy, just enough to, keep the grass happy, get some moisture into the soil, but nothing too crazy where you have like lakes forming in the back lawn and that kind of thing. So it should be drier this weekend, Higgy. So I think we're supposed to have more rain tomorrow, but then this weekend it's supposed to be better. So just hold out if tomorrow doesn't work out for you. We got Triangle Real Mower says, is it Friday? No, it is not Friday. It is Thursday, but it was either do the live stream tonight or I don't do it this week, because tomorrow I've got like some other commitments with martial arts, with like testing and other stuff for this weekend. So I had a choice of either not doing it or doing it tonight. And you guys overwhelmingly said tonight, so hence we are doing it tonight. Next up, we have Shauna. She says, hey, Ron, just got my mowing today. Currently mowing 2 times per week. We are getting there. A woman after my own heart. I love it. It's already out there mowing twice a week. That's exactly what you should be doing. Get out there and mow your lawn, mow your grass. Get on with the routine of mowing. You know what I mean? Remember, he or she, all things else being equal anyway, he or she who mows most wins. So, as a general rule, I always tell people, if you wait until your lawn looks like it needs to be mowed, you waited too long. So twice a week, I don't imagine too much is coming off this time of year at twice a week, Shauna. I'm still out there mowing at around the same things you're doing, or twice a week, and not much is coming off between cuttings right now. But, over the next 3 to 4 weeks, when temperatures really begin to pick up, Bermuda is going to take off, and then that twice a week mowing is going to serve you well. So just kind of getting into that cadence now is a good thing. Nothing wrong with that. All right, we got Mr. Alexander Lee in the house. He says, I am here to politely crush that like button. Guys, if you're enjoying this so far, I know there's only 80 of us in here at this point, but if you guys wouldn't mind hitting that like button ever so gently, or like Alex, if you want to politely crush that like button, by all means, go for it. It's a completely free way to support the channel, support the show. And again, I would really, really, really appreciate it if you guys do. Next up, we got Kenneth Sherrill. He says, Cheryl, I think it's Cheryl. Kenneth Sherrill. He says, hey, Ron, have a great show, brother. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for all the kind words and well wishes. Next up, we have VMH. He says, Ron, I did finish before the live stream last week and had already put it up. Cool. So what VMH is talking about is his Batmobile aerator. Do I still have it? I think I still have it. So last week, if you guys have missed the show last week, if you did, shame on you, but it's okay. We'll recap. He built, like, VMH is like Mr. Mad Scientist. So he built like the Batmobile aerator. Like, look at that thing. That thing is gnarly. Built it himself. You've got, that's one shot. You see like the little shelf there. I think that's where he puts the weight on to help push the tines in. And then the obligatory close-up shot of the propulsion system and the tines. Now, he is doing single row, which, is going to take a little bit longer. But, this is version 1.0. Who knows what he's going to come back with next year, So yeah, it's a very, very cool piece of equipment, man. Nice work. And, I can say that I've never seen one like that. You're definitely the only guy, I'm sure, on your street that has an aerator that looks like that. So very nice. Next up is Doug 350Z with the twin turbo package. He's like, happy Thursday, Ron. What's going on, Doug? Thanks for coming to hang out. I appreciate you. And then Alex Ristiano, he says, hey, Ron, I've started grading my lawn with our Bobcat. Dude, you got some serious equipment. That's awesome. Once that is done, I will put down a fresh layer of lawn topsoil, okay? Then put down seed and cover with peat moss. Should I aerate before the topsoil? I would, yes. Yes, to answer your question, I would. Yes, because you're bringing in I imagine that whatever the existing soil on the lawn is, whatever you're bringing in is likely going to be different to that. It's going to more than likely be a more rich organic material. So let's try and get that integrated with the existing soil profile as much as possible. And aeration is a great way to do that. So once you finish with your Bobcat, you got the grade where you want it. Go if you have access to an aerator, or can just go rent one, giving it a good aeration again. Really beat it up, multiple passes, multiple directions, as much as you can stomach. Go after the lawn with that thing, and then bring in your topsoil, seed, peat moss, and then obviously water. Water is the biggest reason, or lack of adequate watering is the biggest reason why most seeding projects fail. So it sounds like you've done a lot of really great work, and you're on the home stretch. So don't forget the importance of adequate irrigation to getting a good result with your lawn renovation project. Keep me posted on how it goes, man. If you want to share pictures of it, take pictures. Take before, during, and after pictures, because your lawn is never going to look like how it looks right now ever again, we hope, right? So you want to capture it, because you're not going to really be able to go back in time, unfortunately. All right, next up we have Mr. Timothy Smith. He says, "Hey, Ron, I have been here, just silent, so just lurking." Okay, I got you. He says, "My lawn is on fire in Stonecrest, Georgia. Plan to aerate and level again this year. Would May or June be the best time?" Depends on you. I'm a fan of doing my first of leveling in May. Most lawns are fully woken up by late April, early May. The weather is nicer. It's not quite as hot. There's still a lot of the rainfall that we get, the spring showers that we get, so it helps water it in for free. May or June will be fine. Some services will tell you to do it in June, and a lot of times they'll tell you to do it in June because then is when the heat is really here and the lawn is going to recover faster. So, think about it. If they go out and they go top dress someone's lawn, they turn what was a decent looking lawn into a beach, right? It looks like there's this sand all over it, and it probably is a way to prevent people from being irritated, saying, "Hey, my lawn looks like a sand lot. How long is it going to take to recover?" A lot of times they'll just tell you, "Hey, wait till June," because they know that if you wait then, it's going to recover faster. You can do it as early as late this month, early May. As long as your grass is growing, you're out there mowing it, you can absolutely top dress it. And it's funny, Timothy. What you're experiencing is not uncommon. Most people that say, they're going to top dress one time and do it one time, that's going to be it. Normally, they have to run it back. And what you're going through is it's not uncommon. So don't feel weird if your neighbors are out there looking at you like you're crazy. Then they're saying, "Didn't you just do that last year?" You're like, "Yeah, but I'm trying to make it better. So this year I got to do it again." And what you're going to find is this year the lawn should recover faster. It's going to take less material, right? So you're not going to have to go quite as heavy. And it's just going to, you get that nice pool table look. So good stuff, man. Very, very, very nice. Now, on the topic, you said your lawn is on fire. Now, you guys are feel free to send pictures in to try and top this. But right now, I'm gonna have to give the domination award. Not that I'm instituting that, but saying that the lawn domination award to Robert Rainey out of Alabama. So he sent me some pictures today. Well, that's not true. He sent me pictures yesterday of his lawn. You guys know last week he was at like 0.41, and not being one to leave well enough alone. My man, let's see if I got the first one here. So this is a picture of his lawn right now. He's got his fur baby on there. I think Ramsey's his name. Ramsey's out in the lawn hanging out. And you're saying, the turf looks really tight, but how low is that? Like how low would you guys guess that is? Take a look at it. I mean, it's not a great angle, but if you had to guess, how low do you think that is now? You think it's like half an inch, the same 0.40? What do you think? I know you guys can't answer, but what would your guess be? Well, my man took it down even more, and this is what the lawn looks like, the kind of cut that it's at now. So he's at 0.20 inches, so under a quarter of an inch, like literally like high greens height, like a green that's been grown out a little bit. And his equipment looks sharp. I'm looking at the edges of that of those grass tips. Looks like his mower's nice and sharp. I'm gonna give you extra points for that, Robert. And yeah, that's legit, man. I mean, here's the thing. Rock it as long as you can. Rock it as long as you can, because once the heat gets here, it's going to be a challenge to maintain 0.20 without daily mowing. I mean, even with growth reg, that's going to be a challenge. But right now, it looks awesome, man. The color looks great. I got to hand it to you. Lawn looks incredible. So definitely keep doing what you're doing. Something I will tell you, and I've already mentioned this to you, is get a preventative fungicide down, because given the fact that you're mowing the turf that short, and you'll be mowing it, your mowing frequency is going to be a lot higher. The opportunity for disease to take root, given the additional stress you're putting into the lawn, is higher. So if you don't use Headway, use Pillar SC if you want to spray something. But if you're going to be mowing that short and maintaining the lawn that short, fungicide, regular fungicide application is going to be something that needs to be in your wheelhouse, something that you've got to be doing if you want the lawn to stay nice and not not have a bad result from again the additional stress that you're putting into it from mowing at that height. But I say keep going, man. Keep while you have the time to do it, and especially until like late May, early June gets here when the heat really picks up. Rock it as long as you can because it looks good. You are crushing it, man. It looks really good. That's fire. Good job. Nicely done. Love to see it. And by the way, like Robert is a member of the Golf Course Lawn Academy, so just not to be like dust it off and say we produce great lawns, but in many ways the student has become the teacher. My lawn doesn't look that good. Lawn looks incredible, man. It's good stuff. All right, next up is McNasty Motorsports. He says, "Howdy, Ron and crew. Watching from the Fesh Mode backyard. Nice. It's cool. Ron, have you done double wides with the big boy Allen yet? Maybe I missed it." Yeah, these are double wides. So what you're seeing here, let me show the picture. This picture, I'll just show not the picture this time, not the video. What you're seeing there, those are double wides. That is 2 passes. You can almost make it out. If you look at the dark stripe on the left, if you look at the middle, like it looks like the lawn is really flat there, but there's actually a bit of a slope there. And if you look in the middle, you can almost make out slightly where I didn't do a great job overlapping that one left dark stripe that's coming towards us, that pass that's coming towards us. But yeah, what you're seeing right there, these thick stripes are from double wides with the C27. I was doing singles last year when I first got the mower, but then, as the viewer, I think Alex said it, and then also as a viewer said, that thing would look really good with double wide. So mid-season, I just reset it, and which I'll tell you, that's a pain to do. I reset all the stripes, and now we've got, some burnt in double wides, and my goal for this year, I've got the double wides going that way. It's to also now make them go lengthwise too. So I've been working on that. And that thing is to really do that to help accelerate it. What you really want to do is start turf raking. So turf rake the double wide to kind of get the grass, you comb the grass in the direction you want it to lay. And then just, burn it in through like double cutting. So double cut one way, or cut one way and then finish up in the way that I want the stripes to really pop. So it's a lot of work, but hey, what else am I gonna do, right? And plus you guys, I'm sure, want to see that. So yeah. All right, so we got the Maestro in the house as well on Instagram. He says, "To what do we owe the honor? The Region 21 tournament and black belt test is the reason why you're seeing it tonight, because tomorrow night there's not going to be a show. So I moved it up one day so you guys can still, get the content, but we can't do it tomorrow night because this time tomorrow, the candidates are going to be sweating. They're going to be putting in that work trying to earn a black belt or another degree of black belt. So it's going to be a good time. Stressful, but it's a lot of fun. Fun for me because I'm not going to be on the floor testing. But yeah, it's still a good time. Next up is Mike D. He says, "Thursday, woo." Yep, Mike. It's a special one. We're not going to be doing this all the time, mainly because we go kind of late with these. I know you guys, most of you guys got to work tomorrow, so me having you up super late while I'm jibber jabbering about lawn care, Thursday night is not the best night for that. All right, Mike D says, "Acceloprin is down and nice holographic sticker. Thanks, Ron. You are very welcome, sir. I'm glad you got it." Yeah, so you guys remember last week, Mike D was like saying, "Hey, man, I really want to get one of the new holographic stickers." And I said, "Okay, Mike, if you want one of the stickers, you get your Acceloprin order in." And some of you guys also that placed Acceloprin orders got one too. He got one of these Mama Jammas in the mail. So if you like bling, if you're a bling kind of person, some people don't like bling. Some people prefer like the more matte black, the dark black ones. Like these are the newest ones. People prefer these. But if you like bling, which seems like Mike is a bling kind of guy, that's what he got in his with his Acceloprin order. So there you go. All right, next up is No Name. No Name's in the house. He says, "Happy Thursday, Ron, and fellow lawn enthusiasts. Got some carbon down before the rain. I'm getting a great green pop. Please smash that like button." Yeah, man, it's a good time because the thing is, No Name, you got your carbon down today. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, and it's not supposed to be crazy heavy rainfall. So, it's going to rain tonight some, rain tomorrow, and then the weekend it's going to be go time. You can get out there and be in the lawn mowing and do whatever you want to do, just having a grand old time, looking at your grass, how green it is, and, having your neighbor stop by and ask for tips. You're well on your way. You're well on your way. The rain is happening during the week and not on the weekend, which is what I prefer. It's what I prefer. Papa Mo's Low is in the house. He says, "Happy Thursday, Ron. Top dressing next weekend." Whew. Bless your heart. It's fun, but it's fun when it's done. But it's it's one of those things. Every time I top dress, I always question my life's choices about 45 minutes into it. Like, why am I doing this again? Why? Like, it's completely unnecessary. Why am I doing this again? But then once I'm done and I see how the lawn looks, I'm like, yeah, I can see why I did it. Totally worth it. Okay, so he says, would it be advisable to verticut before aerating? Would verticut before aerating before the top dressing, or would it just be a waste? It's your call. If I had a choice, Papa Mo's Low, I would, if I could only do one of those, I would choose the aeration. The verticutting is a way to thin the turf out. So if your lawn, I have not seen a picture of your lawn. So if your lawn is thick, if it's really thick and you want to top dress it and you just want to, just to thin it out a little bit, you can verticut it. Of the two though, aeration by far, in my opinion, is the more important of the two to do versus verticutting. You can do it. It's not going to hurt anything. It's just more work. You know what I mean? But of the two, as far as the juice being worth the squeeze, aeration by far is, in my opinion, for this time of year, is the way to go versus introducing a verticut and an aeration and then you're top dressing. So it's your call. If you've got the time to do it and you want to do it, by all means. All right, next up is McNasty Motorsports. And kind of like what I told the other viewers, Papa Mo's Low, take pictures, man. Take pictures. Make sure you have pictures of before, during, and after, so you can document all your hard work. McNasty Motorsports says, "I meant Allet, silly autocorrect." Yeah, no worries, man. Yeah, I know what you meant. I can read between the lines. I get it. I get what you were leaning towards. No problems at all. All right, next up is Timothy Smith. He says, follow up, have guessed the end of May and was concerned about the recovery time. If done now, would 2 weeks recovery seem realistic this time of year? Depends on how heavy you go. You know what I mean? If you do it the way that I recommend, which is 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, like 1/2 an inch max, you should be good by the end of May. Because if you're going to be doing, you said you're going to be doing yours when did you say, Timothy? The end of this month or this weekend? Let me see. Yeah, so May is when you need to be doing it. So if you're gonna do it the end of this month or like the first week of May, when is May? Let me get my calendar up. When does it start? May 1st is on a Thursday. No, it's not. It's on a Monday. Looks like it's on a Monday. So if you can do it that weekend of April 29th, like if you can get it done then, that gives you ample time to get the lawn to recover, especially if you go light. Because remember, you're going to find that this time around, the lawn is going to take less material to get those little bumps and undulations evened out, because you've already done the major top dressing. By far, the first one takes the longest to recover, and it also tends to take the most material. So this time around, just go a bit lighter, and again, even if you just go lighter and you should be fine. I mean, by the end of May, if you did it at the end of April, a month should be plenty of time for the lawn to recover. So yeah, and I get it. You want the lawn to look its absolute best for the guests. So let's get the top dressing done a little early, and then you'll be good to go. So when they show up and they'll be like, "Is this grass real? Is this fake? What do you have? Like astroturf put down?" And you'll be like, "No, it's grass. It's my neighbor's grass. It's the same grass." The best thing you can always say is the grass you're standing on is the same grass as across the street, but it looks completely different, right? So it just shows it's all in the care, the mowing, top dressing, all that fun stuff. All right, next up is Mike D. He says, "Did you say scarify with the Allet every other mow?" No. So what I'd say is that what I would say is this. Scarify / turf rake, because with Allet, they call the same thing, the same product, the same attachment, two different things for Lord knows what reason. So whenever you're doing when you first get like a C27 or like any kind of mower you can do turf raking with, right? And you're trying to clean out the thatch or reduce the thatch levels of the lawn, you can do that as frequently as you have time. Once you've got the thatch at a manageable level, like you've cleaned it out for the most part, then you can go to once per week and then just do your regular mowing. So once a week, typically on the weekends, is when I will do my turf raking, and then I will and then just after outside of that, it's just regular mowing. So because think about it, if you turf rake every single time, you're literally doubling the amount of time you're spending in the lawn. And I don't know that doing it every time is necessarily worth it. Like once a week, once you've got it all cleaned out, is going to be good to go. So turf raking once a week, verticutting once a month, mowing as often as the spirit moves you, at least twice a week though. So yeah. Hope that helps, Mike D. If you have any other questions, let me know. I'm not sure where I said every other mow. I may have said that, but I mean, it's not something you have to do once you have thatch levels where you want them in the lawn. Justin Judkins is up next. He says, "Hey Ron, my lawn is about 90% greened up. I like it, but a few spots still slow to wake up. Am I okay to aerate and top dress now/soon, or should I wait till it's fully green? Bermuda height of cut is 0.75 inches in San Antonio, Texas. You can do it. You can absolutely aerate and top dress now if you want to. I mean, I've already done the front lawn. Granted, that was just with compost, right? That was just carbonized PN is what I use in the front lawn, and that was 2 weeks ago at this point. So yeah, if you want to do a your aeration and top dressing now, I mean we're in the middle of April. By the time you get the sand delivered and you get it scheduled, you get your aerator rented, it'll probably be next weekend at the earliest. So you're talking about the weekend of the whatever is the 21st, or let me see, what is that? Whatever, next weekend, right? So the weekend of so next weekend, and you'll be good. The weekend of the 21st, so which is good to go. Yeah, I would do that. And the same rule applies. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but like just go light. A quarter to half an inch of material. The grass, the tips of the grass blades should be exposed through the majority of your lawn. You're going to have some areas where you're not going to be able to see them, where it's a little bit where it's there's more dips. But for the most part, you want to see the grass tips exposed when you're done. It's just going to help the lawn recover that much faster. The nice thing about doing it this time of year, Justin, is if you decide you want to do another one, you've got plenty of season left. So you could do an aeration top dress now, and then you could top dress again. Let me see. So we're like mid-April. You could do another one first part of June if you wanted to, or mid-June, and then you could do a last one like last week of July. If you still got some left in the tank, and you want to top dress a third time, you could absolutely do it. So don't feel like you have to get it all done in one go. But yes, now we're definitely in the the time of year for top dressing. That hence why the blog post came out today on core aeration, because that's an important thing to do this time of year. I'm working on one for top dressing. You guys are going to see that one fairly soon as well. And yeah, so yeah, go for it. By all means, go for it if you want. Just go light. Go light. Next up is JC105. Says, "Hello, Ron. Finally, a show on my day off." That's cool. Yeah, so there are some benefits to the Thursday show, right? There's some people that never can make it on Fridays because they work on Fridays. And there's some people that, like JC, can actually be here now because it's on a day when they're not working, which is cool. So it benefits some folks, right? He says, "I actually get to watch from the start. Smash that like button." Thank you so much, JC. If you guys are enjoying the show and have not yet hit that like button, please do so. It costs absolutely nothing. I mean, how many things can you do in life that are absolutely free and help someone else? It's a completely selfless act. You know what I mean? And hitting the like button is one of those things. So if you guys have not yet hit the like button, please feel free to do so. I would really appreciate it. Again, costs absolutely nothing. All right, next up is Dell. It says, "Ron, how much is your budget for your lawn?" Ooh, man, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, if you talk about, I don't know, man. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. I mean, are you talking about lawn equipment too? If you talk about like last year I bought a mower. So like last year was really expensive. This year should be less expensive. I don't know. That's a good question. I've never actually added it all up as far as what it costs to maintain my lawn. It's not inexpensive. I mean, like that's why I tell people all the time when they get on they ask in the comment section, or people email me, they say, I have a lawn care service and my lawn doesn't look that great. I want to do what you do on your lawn because, I want my lawn to look great. And I'm like, yeah, you can do it, but you're going to end up spending more money than you spend with a lawn care service. Remember, those guys come out 7-8 times a year and, they do your herbicides, they'll typically spray or apply a extended release fertilizer, and they can make, as long as you're mowing, your lawn can look reasonably decent with that kind of program, right? If you're talking about doing the stuff we've talked about so far in the show tonight, so you're scalping, you're core aerating, you're top dressing, you're using a spoon feeding program. If you're a wild man like Robert, where you're mowing it like under 1/4 of an inch, now you're doing like a fungicide program. Like it's not like a preventive fungicide, something you're going to be doing regularly to keep the lawn happy. So the as a general rule, Dell, I used to say the lower you go, the more you have to mow. But a friend of mine that works, he used to be a greenskeeper. He used to work on a golf course. He says, really, Ron, he says, a more accurate statement would be the lower you go, the more you have to do. Meaning that's when, some people can get by with not necessarily having to use fungicides to the level that we do when you're mowing at the heights that we're at. But I mean, typically the lower you go, the more you're pushing the turf, the more you're cutting it, the more you have to do to keep it looking nice. So to answer your question, I don't know exactly what my budget is for my lawn. I mean, I give it what it needs to look to stay looking good. I mean, I don't do very many things. So I work, I do martial arts, and I work on my lawn. And that's pretty much it. And things that are like ancillary, aspects of those three main things. So work, lawn, and martial arts. So, for the most part, I don't spend a lot of money on a bunch of other things. So so lawn care is, it's my zen. It's my zen. It's my thing. But I can try and add it up if you want. It might actually scare me if I looked at it. But yeah, I can look at that. I've never actually added it all up. Like last year was like 5 figures because again, the outlet, I bought the mower, right? So, but outside of that, if I had to guess, I don't know, 1,000, 1,500, maybe, not including top dressing. I'm not including any kind of major things like top dressing, not including that. But maybe around that. Yeah, I don't know. I'd say 1,000. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know. I'll have to add it up and get back to you, Del. It's a good question. That's the kind of question you don't really ask. It's like whenever you go like fishing, like whenever your buddy. Now, Del, I know I don't want to get off topic here, but this is one of these questions you never ask in front of you're with your buddy. Never ask this in front of a significant other. Like when a guy has a bunch of fishing poles, he asks like one of my friends, right? He's like one of the instructors at the studio. I don't ask him like how many fishing poles he has, or if I ask him, I don't ask him in front of like his girlfriend how many fishing poles he has. That's not it's not good. It's like asking someone like how many guns they have, like Dwayne asking him how many mowers he has. It's a sensitive topic. Sensitive topics. So you just got to make sure, like the way you did it now is okay because we're all friends and you guys aren't going to judge me too badly with what I throw. But you don't ask that kind of question. You got to be careful. The audience you ask that question in because you can get some side eye for folks if you expose them like that. All right, next up is that Texan Clips. He says, "Hey, I am 14. Cool, that's awesome. I'm 14. I've been doing my St. Augustine with Yard Mastery products. I haven't done my lawn during spring yet, so I have a bit of POA. Will Celsius work good on it? I applied my prodiamine already." First of all, 14 into lawn care already. Gotta clap it up for that. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, as far as dealing with POA, Celsius won't do much for POA annua. So for POA, this time of year, you can, I mean, if you're patient and you don't really care, it looks a little ugly, you can just wait. You can wait till another month or so. It's going to start dying off when it gets hotter. Or if you want to get rid of, St. Augustine. So if you want to get rid of POA in warm season turf, the best product, in my opinion, for that is a herbicide called Certainty. This one. Certainty is excellent against POA. It's also excellent against sedges. So Kalinga, purple nut sedge, green nut sedge, yellow nut sedge, globe sedge, any of the sedges, this will knock out, and it will also take care of POA annua. So if you can't stand the way it looks in your St. Augustine lawn, then Certainty is the way to go. Get with your parents. Obviously, talk to your parents about it. Have them watch this section of the show, and let them make sure that they're okay with it. I'm not telling you, unfortunately, you have to go out and buy herbicides, but talk to your mom and dad about it. We have a video on the golf course lawn store. If you're here, I'll actually show you where it is. Let me get here. I'll show you where that is. So if you go to the store and you go to shop, and then you go to weed killer section, you'll see Certainty, and in there you'll see a video that talks about how I like to mix it with Celsius. This video is talking about using both of them together, and how you can use it for a good result. If you're using in this video, because it was shot during the summer, the application rate that I show for Certainty, I show using 3 of the small scoops. That works well for sedges, especially during the summertime. That's all you need to take care of sedges. For POA, you have to go up on the rate. So in the box, if mom and dad approves it and they get you this, again, show them the section, you're going to see two ends. You have a small end and a large end. For POA, the minimum, the base rate that is recommended on the label for POA annua is one of these large scoops, one large scoop over 1,000 square feet. So if you're just spot spraying, you can take one of these, put it in a gallon of water, add some surfactant, and you can spot spray POA with that. I mean, the label also offers dilution rates of saying 2 gallons per 1,000 square feet, but it's really your call. The big thing to keep in mind is if you are spraying 1,000 square feet, one of these large scoops of active ingredient is what you want to apply over 1,000 square feet if you're targeting POA annua. You can go up a little bit heavier than that, but the base is one large one. So hope that helps. That text in clips. Again, talk to mom and dad about it. Make sure they're cool with it. Have them watch the section of the show. Have them also watch the video in the description of this, and make sure they're I probably just have your dad do it. Is what I would really recommend, and then go from there. But yeah, that will take care of the Poa annua in your lawn in your St. Augustine if you want to get that gone. That's awesome, man. It's really cool. 14 years old. When I was 14 years old, I hated working in my lawn. I mean, my dad, it was like torture for me. So the fact that you're 14 and you've already got the bug, that's cool. That's very, very cool. Keep going. There are definitely worse things than being in the lawn care. It keeps you out of trouble, and it's a great hobby to have. All right, next up is Rob Loon. I said Ron. Rob Loon. He says, what starter fertilizer do you recommend for a lawn with slightly high phosphorus? I plan to seed Bermuda in May. Great question. So what I would say, Rob Loon, is traditionally when you hear starter fertilizer, a starter fertilizer has all three macros. So nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. In your case, where you have a soil that already has adequate levels of phosphorus, or by your own admission, slightly higher levels of phosphorus, we're just going to admit that. There's no reason to add more of it if your soil's already got adequate levels of it. So what I would say is go with something like go to shop and go to the lawn fertilizer section, and then either one of these, the Stress 12-0-24 or Humic Max. If it were me, I would go with Humic Max. This is a great formulation from a standpoint of applying the right amount of nitrogen, right amount of potassium for your soil, and it has no phosphorus. We're emitting the phosphorus. So I would go with Humic Max or with the Stress 12-0-24. Either one of these would be great options. Don't go with the complete, because you don't need phosphorus. Your soil already has it, right? So either one of these guys. The benefits of Humic Max is that you're getting 8.9% humic acid as well. Whenever you're applying this, you're getting a fertilizer, and you're also getting a biostimulant in the same bag, which is kind of cool, right? And then with the Stress 12-0-24, you are getting some humic acid. It's less than what's in Humic Max. You also get a little bit of kelp in the Stress product, and you get some iron, manganese, and magnesium. So you get some micronutrients in the Stress 12-0-24 that you don't get in Humic Max. So you can't go wrong either way. If it were me, I would lean towards Humic Max. That's what I would go with, given the fact you're going to be doing like a renovation project, and that you already have adequate levels of phosphorus. So to help you out, I will drop a link in the chat for you. Actually, the pinned comment will take you to the fertilizer section of the Golf Course Lawn Store. But because I aim to please, I will hook you up. So there you go. That link will take you directly to Humic Max. So hope that helps, Rob. Definitely make sure you plan for adequate watering whenever you do your seeding project, because that's the thing that's going to likely have the biggest result, or the biggest factor in the success you have in your seeding project. So make sure you're planning to put adequate water on the lawn. All right. Next up is Iceman RC. He says, I'm already having fungus issues in my fescue. Could BioSpectrum be increasing my chances of fungus? No. If not, is the fungicide canceling out the good fungi I'm applying with BioSpectrum? Yes and no. So if you talk to the folks at Miramichi Green, one of the big reasons why they created BioSpectrum is because for a lot of well-maintained turf, so sports fields, golf courses, places where you're spraying, where they have a fungicide program, kind of like we have a fertilizer program, like a fungicide program is a big part of what they do. Fungicides are hard on the microbial activity, the beneficial bacteria in the soil. So the idea behind BioSpectrum, which I don't have a bag of, but yeah, I do right here. The idea behind this product is that it helps to restore that. So when it comes to, you talk to the folks at Miramichi Green, and I say, and I've asked them, I said, what can I tell people you can mix this with? They said, literally, if you're spraying anything on your lawn, any kind of liquid, you can throw this in the tank and you can mix this and apply it at the same time. The only thing that is less beneficial is if you're doing a fungicide. Like if you're going to be using, for example, Iceman RC, if you're spraying, Pillar SC, the suspension concentrate, if you're spraying this fungicide, I would not put BioSpectrum in the tank with this, because you're kind of working again. Not that you're not the BioSpectrum is not making Pillar SC less effective, but this is attacking what's in this. So I would do just separate apps, is what I would say. So to answer your question, no, BioSpectrum is not causing the disease issue in your lawn. The problem with this time of year is the lawns are waking up from coming out of dormancy. We're getting a lot more rainfall. Humidity levels are getting higher, and we're also getting temperature. So if your lawn is predisposed, if it's already been exposed to a brown patch, or you've been, it's been exposed to some kind of lawn damaging disease, fungi, then yeah, it can take root. Which is why this time of year really. May is when I tell people that if you don't have a history, you guys know I normally say that if you don't have a history of lawn disease in your or a fungus problem in your lawn, then get your preventative fungicide down. But if you have a problem, like if you're having a problem now, get your fungicide down now. Don't wait. Like when it comes to fungus, like disease problems in lawns, they get worse. They don't typically get better without assistance, without help. So if you're already starting to see some things going on in your lawn, get a fungicide down. Like I had some, I got an issue that are going on in my front lawn. I've already applied fungicide. I've already put down Pillar SC. I've already applied this. So if you see something going on, like get ahead of it, because what fungicide does, it's not like fertilizer where it makes your grass grow. What it's going to do is it's going to arrest the spread. It's going to kill the damaging the fungi, the fungus that's causing the problem. It's causing the disease issue in your lawn, and it's going to allow the lawn to recover. So instead of the lawn having to fight this disease and which is causing it to be thin and die off and look sickly, the fungicide is going to get rid of it. It's going to kill that, and it's going to allow the lawn to heal, right? So that from the time you spray a fungicide to the time, or you apply granular, from the time you apply a fungicide to the time you start seeing benefits or seeing improvement in the lawn is typically a couple of weeks. If you applied a fungicide, say we're about to be the middle of middle of April. If you applied it in the middle of April, like now, I would expect that the end of this month is when you'll start seeing the lawn start really filling back in and the grass doing well, right? Because it takes a while, one, to get rid of, for the fungicide to work, and then it takes time for the lawn to heal. And given the fact that this time of year, the temperatures are only now starting to pick up, so the grass isn't growing as aggressively as yet, that time to recovery is a bit longer. If you have a problem, Iceman RC, it sounds like you have a fungus issue in your fescue. If you're having a problem now, say you spray something like Pillar SC, or you use or Headway, either one of those. If you do that now, plan to do another application in 3 weeks. So if you sprayed in Pillar or applied Headway, say tomorrow, the first week of May, you would do, so 21 days later, you would do another fungicide app. So just to ensure that that's gone, and that you're not going to have relapse or allow it to take root in your lawn again and come back with a vengeance. So when you have a disease problem, you need to plan for at least 2 applications, the initial one and then another one 21 days after the first one. So hope that helps. Iceman RC, sorry you're dealing with it. It's not uncommon this time of year. Biospectrum is not causing the disease issue in your lawn, and yeah, get a preventative fungicide down to knock it out, to get it don't let it run its course on its own. I guess what I'm trying to say, because it's going to get a lot worse if you don't prevent it. And we've got plenty of options, again, Headway or Pillar SC in the fungicide section of the golf course lawn store. I'll send a link to you here while I'm looking for the next question to help you out. Sorry you're dealing with that, but at least you're seeing it and you're going to do something about it now, which is exactly what you want. All right, next up we have, there you go. Next up, we got Mr. Dalvin Larry. Dalvin's in the house. He says, hey Ron, backpack question. When using the foliar tip, do you have the Yard Mastery sprayer on the setting 2 or leave it on 1? When I use the air induction tip, I have it set to 1, but I use 2 for foliar. But it seems like I'm having extra product even though I use the 2 setting. Okay, so it's funny. I don't know exactly which one is 1 or 2. I flip it down. The lower pressure setting, let's say it this way. The lower pressure setting is the one that I use for this, so that you guys can see on the gram, for the foliar spray tip. Like this, the lower pressure setting allows me to get 4,000 square feet of coverage when the sprayer sets the lower pressure setting at my walking pace. So for me, the low pressure setting. The high pressure setting, this is a good question, Dalvin, because sometimes people ask, when would you use a high pressure setting? A good example of when you would do that is if I'm spraying, for example, fungicide, right? Because like the amount of carrier, the amount of water that you're putting down over 1,000 square feet with a fungicide versus when you're doing like liquid fertilizer or the carbon kit, it's just more, it's double. I will run the flood jet tip at the higher pressure setting, and that works out to about 2 gallons over 1,000 square feet. So if I need to increase the amount of the amount of carrier, the amount of product going down in 1,000 square feet, that's when I will use the higher pressure setting. But outside of fungicide, let me think. For pre-emergent, it's the low pressure setting. For foliar sprays, it's the low pressure setting. Really, it's only for fungicide or anything else that requires any soil-based product that requires a that recommends a 2 gallon per 1,000 square foot dilution rate. So you're using a lot more water, a lot more carrier that you're putting down. That's when I'll kick it up to the high setting just so I can get it out. I'm not having to make multiple passes over the same area. With the sprayer, one like that, the low pressure setting with the foliar tip, depending on your walking pace, that should put 4 gallons out over 4,000 square feet. That is what I do. That's what I get out of mine. So literally, it takes me 3 tanks to do my entire lawn, and I have a little bit left over to where I'm able to go do like Alex's vanity strips and that kind of thing. So that I am putting out 1 gallon per 1,000 square feet with the low pressure setting with the foliar this T-Jet spray tip. So you might need to adjust your walking pace if you're not getting that same amount of output. So hope that helps, sir. Great question. And let me know if you need anything else. All right, David Lee's in the house. He says, thanks for all the good information, Ron. Big up, brethren. I appreciate that, David, from Jamaica, coming in and saying hi. I'm hailing up another island guy. So thanks for coming to hang out and say hi. I always appreciate it. Always like to talk to my people, my West Indian folk. Okay, and next up is Harper's Knitter says, I've put down 3 heavy layers of pre-emergent down since September and have winter weeds. Clover, dandelions popping up. Just was pulling them when your show came on. Happy Thursday. That's odd, Harper's. It's too bad that you're because I mean if you've done 3 pre-emergent apps since September, so I'm assuming you did 1 in September and then 2 spaced out over maybe late fall and early spring. Surprised that you're still having a lot of weed pressure from that. Now, the things that I can think about that could potentially be a reason. Now, you said heavy layers, but I don't know what heavy layers mean. But I mean, if you are, ensure that you're applying at the correct rate. So that's the thing that I'm kind of leaning towards, that you're applying it at the proper application rate. Because even if you, because with 3 applications, that pre-emergent should work fairly well. As far as controlling or suppressing, dandelions and clover in your lawn. So I'm going to say maybe application, man. I mean, I'm assuming you also watered it in after you applied it, but given that you did 3 apps, I would not think that you would be fighting a ton of weeds in your lawn this time of year. So we'll have to dig into that one. All right, we got Ron J. Henry in the live stream on Instagram. What's going on? We got Backyard Barber, Herman Hinosa. What's going on? Thanks for coming to hang out in the show. Appreciate you. Kit Products joined. Long time coming. That's actually good handle. Long time coming, but long time coming. Long time coming, right? Also joined. So thanks you guys for Instagram also coming in and saying hi as well. Appreciate you guys supporting the content. Next up is Justin Judkins. He says, maybe one of the more, come on, man, question. Like I gotta say it, I have to do it how he was probably saying it. One of the more common, come on, man, questions you'll get. But how do you get liquid out of a bottle like Primo Maxx if you've got too much into the measuring portion? I live for this question. All right, so I'll show you. I'm gonna show you a trick. Now listen, you're only gonna get this because you are on the show. Let me remove this tape I have on here so the label doesn't pop around. Okay, so make sure that this is not too heavy. So you have a bottle of Primo Maxx. And let's say that, you know what, I was aiming for like 0.3, right? So I'm saying, no, I want to go for 0.3, but oh my goodness, I got to 0.4. Too much. How do I get what I got in here back into here? So I'm going to show you guys a little secret. And it's in the video where I spoke about the small bottle. But what you're going to do is take the bottle, turn it sideways like this. And then because this has basically got air in it, we're going to be able to use that to siphon some of this out and back into the main one. So you're going to push and it's going to suck it out just like that. See? So I did it one time and now we're down to 0.3. If I do it again, if I do it a couple more times, you can almost get it fully empty. So just press it like that, And see, you're down to 0.1. So if you ever go too heavy, again, I should qualify this. Make sure the caps are on. Make sure the tight. Do not turn the bottle sideways with the caps not on. Obviously, you guys know that, but just I gotta say it. So also, if you get this, you guys on Instagram can say it as well. Can see this as well too. So we put too much in here. So I would say I was going for 0.3, but I've got almost 4.5 in there. Right. Just again, make sure caps are on nice and tight. Turn the bottle sideways. You now got this air gap here, so you can use that to suck the Primo out of the measuring cup and back into this one. So that's how you can, empty out or draw material out of here if you get too much in the bottle. In the video that I did, I think it was last year on the small bottles of Primo Maxx, I actually showed how to do that. But I mean, it's a good question. It's a good question, and it's not a come on man question. That's actually a very good question. What I should do just is I should make a small YouTube short and put that in the product description for Primo, because I'm sure you're not the only one that has asked that question. So food for thought. I'm going to screenshot that, and I'm going to put that on my to-do list. Things to do to help improve the customer experience, right? Thanks for that, sir. Good question. Hopefully you're all squared away now. Now you know how to do that. And that also works for a Celoprint too. It works for this one as well too. Also works for tenacity as well too. So if you're measuring out tenacity, you get too much, same trick applies. Just make sure the caps are on nice and tight, turn it sideways, and you can siphon the product out and back into the main container, the main holder. So good stuff. Next up is G Free. He says, "Hey Ron and hashtag Stripe Action Gang. Happy Thursday, Ron. I'm now about to get real. Just bought a McLean reel mower. Let's clap it up for that." Good stuff. I like it. 7-blade today. It's used, but it's new to you, right? New to you. And runs good, but wasn't able to use it because of the rain. No worries, man. Tomorrow, you're probably not going to get to use it either, because if you're in Georgia, it's going to rain tomorrow at some point. But Saturday was looking really good. Saturday is looking solid, so you might be able to get out there on Saturday and and get acquainted, become one with the new mower. Congrats, man. It's an exciting time to get a new reel mower. It's every time I get new equipment, I always like it. And the thing is, you don't know yet how amazing your turf is going to look once you start regularly using that on it. It's going to make a huge night and day difference in the way your lawn looks. So congrats again. Keep it sharp, use it often, and you can't help to have an amazing lawn if you do those two things. Next up is Kenneth Hurd. He said, "Just got off my order of Primo Maxx and Turfplex. Looking forward to getting them out." Nice. Yes. So Primo Maxx, we can get those out. Those then that ships fairly quickly, and then Turfplex will also ship relatively quickly. Sometimes you guys order those products and they come out of different warehouses. So I would imagine, Ken, if I were a betting man, the Primo Maxx is going to make it to you before the Turfplex will, but they will both arrive post haste. And you'll be set to go to take care of your lawn, to give it what it needs to have that mean green. Bill Stewart says, "Nice how you can talk grass and kick ass." Yeah. I mean, it's fun. I mean, this weekend is going to be fun because I'm going to be doing. So there's 3 events, and while I look for the next comment, I can tell you guys the way the tournament works. I'm in the old guys division, the senior division. I think it's like 9 or 10 guys in my division that I'm competing against. So there are weapons forms. So I'm going to be doing a sword form called Jungkoop Jangum Hyung. So that's gonna be my sword form, and then there's open hand form. So kind of like what you see, like typical kata, or like people call kata. We call them hyung because it's Korean. So I'll be doing my hyung will be Kung Sang Kun, which is a monster of a form. It's a long form. It's a really, really long form. A lot of kicks, a lot of balance stuff in it. It's a lot of fun. It's a challenging one to do. And then of course the fun part about karate is sparring, right? So you have open hand forms, weapon forms, and then the sparring part, right? The fighting part of karate. So I don't know if I can get someone to take some video of it. If you guys are interested, I'll show you guys next week. Assuming I don't get knocked out and I'm like coming in here with my eye hanging out next week, right? We'll see. Hopefully not. All right, next up is NMS Auditor. He says, "Ron, any idea what the setting would be for Headway G as a preventative for a Lesco spreader? I don't know off the top of my head. I would tell you that 2 to 2.3 pounds, or just say 2 pounds per 1,000 is a good preventative rate. If you look at the label, it's got a bunch of different ranges, but 2.3, like that's a good a good rate for when you're using it as a preventative. If you already have an active disease problem on your lawn, you're going to want to go up towards the higher end of the application rate. There are for some diseases, the label will have you applying head weight like 4 pounds per thousand. So yeah, you know what? I don't know. Let me look here and see if the label. I'm pretty sure we have Lesco's on here. I think, yeah, we do. Actually, I'm going to take. We do have it, and I'm going to fix that tonight. I'm going to move this. No, actually, I already did. Yeah, so right here. So let me see. Yep, there we go. So if you go to the golf course lawn store, I was to say, Ron, what? Oh, you're lapsing, man. Why would you not do that? Okay, so if you go to Headway G, down here you have the spreader settings. So these are the spreader settings for an Echo and then for a Scott's, because some of you guys have those. But if you have a Lesco, if you scroll over, there's this. And for a Lesco commercial rotary plus, these are your settings. So for the 2 pound per thousand square rate, for rate, 3 pounds, 4 pounds. So just find your spreader Lesco, and it looks like it's an 8 or B or 9.5 or B and 3/4. Whatever that means. I don't have a Lesco spreader, but yeah, it's got it here on the store for you NMS auditors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link this for you and stick it in the chat at NMS auditor like that. So look in there, you go over through the carousel and you'll be able to find the spreader settings for your Lesco, and you'll be good to go as far as that goes. Again, unless you already have Headway, if you don't have Headway, consider Pillar SC, the new liquid fungicide, because really for this guy, it's super easy. It's 1 ounce per 1,000 square feet. It doesn't get any easier than that. Whether you're doing it as a preventative or curative, it is 1 ounce per 1,000. So you're good to go. Cannot beat it. Cannot beat it. All right, sir, if you need anything else, let me know. We got Natalie Tran in the live stream tonight saying, happy Thursday, Ron. What's going on, Natalie? Hopefully you are doing well. Hopefully your lawn is waking up and doing well this season. Yep, thanks for coming, taking some time out of your Thursday to come hang out on the show. And then McNasty Motorsports says, I can't believe I didn't notice you switched to double wides. Looks great. You know, McNasty, you know what this is like? I got to tell you, we've known each other we've not met in person, but I've known you for a while. You're on the live stream for a while. This is like, your wife or girlfriend getting a new haircut, or they started working out and they lost weight, and you don't even take notice. You don't compliment them. It makes me wonder, do you even pay attention? Why do I even try so hard if you're not gonna take advantage and take notice of all my efforts? You know what I mean? I mean, that's pretty. I mean, I'm gonna bring this up again. I mean, that's pretty obvious that those are double wides. That's not, the outlet by itself will not do stripes that wide, and for you to not even notice it, it's kind of hurtful. It's kind of hurtful. Just want to put it out there like that. I mean, I know you didn't mean it. It doesn't change how I feel. All right, next up is Archie Amos. He says, wow, almost missed you. Forgot you had competitions. Good luck. I did bios today. Rain about to start in a few hours. Nice, good job, man. So you got all your stuff down, and yeah, just waiting for the rainfall to help water it in. You can't beat that. McNasty, hopefully I'm messing with you, right? Don't, sometimes, dad jokes, they don't always come across well. So hopefully I'm just messing with you. All right, but good job, Archie, on getting your products down, and yeah, competition this weekend. Should be a good time. All right, next up, we have a comment here as far as on the Instagram. So Mike Christ 85 says, just bought my first home last year, so I'm a newbie. Congratulations on your first home, first of all. He says, would you suggest taking care of weeds first or fertilizer? So the way we recommend doing things are controlling weeds, taking care of weeds, getting a soil test done, and applying your fertilizer, and then mowing. There's nothing that says you can't do them. It's not like you have to get rid of weeds first before you fertilize your lawn. But if you've got a lot of weeds, it makes sense to get down a selective herbicide to kill the weeds, to get rid of them before you start feeding your lawn, a lot. And then, in other words, I'm trying to explain this better. I would not wait until summertime to start trying to take care of the weeds. I would start tackling that now. And I would begin feeding your lawn once you get your soil test results now as well too. So in other words, the two don't have to be separated. It's not like if you are killing the weeds in your lawn, that precludes you from being able to apply fertilizer. Because remember, whenever you spray herbicides, you spray if you have warm season turf, you spray Celsius or Certainty on them. That is going to injure the weeds. They're going to start dying off. And yes, when you start fertilizing, yes, the weeds can technically benefit from that slightly, but really that your grass, your existing lawn, Bermuda, is what's really going to benefit from it, because you've put you put a poison, you put a herbicide into the weeds, which is going to eventually cause them to die off, especially if you start mowing regularly, right? So if you apply your preventive, you apply your herbicides or your post-emergent herbicide, you give it a couple of days, and then you start mowing, and then you start feeding the lawn, it's going to be harder for the weeds to bounce back because one, you've injured them with herbicide, and then second, you're mowing them, you're cutting them down, or you're cutting off leaf. So their ability to grow back, to recover from that, to grow new leaf is going to be compromised due to the weed killer, while the fertilizer you're putting down is going to help your grass, the thing you want to have to be the dominant plant in your yard, to do well, to thrive, right? So it's not like you have to kill weeds, and I'm only in weed killing season first, and once the weeds are all gone, then I can do fertilizer. You can do them like within, I hate to say at the same time, but you can do them pretty much at the same time, because if the way I explained it, you're going to be getting, the weeds are not going to be around very long. If you use like Celsius, if you use this combination, like this guy, I'm assuming you have warm season turf, but if you're using, you have Bermuda, Zoysia, St. Augustine, if you use this combination on weeds in a St. Augustine, a Bermuda, or a Zoysia lawn, within 3 weeks, especially this time of year as it begins to get warmer, you're not going to have a lot of problems with weeds. They're going to be dying. They're going to be well on their way to dying off, and your lawn is going to be well on its way to doing well based on the fertilizer you're putting in it. So you can do both, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I have an infographic or an infographic on the golf course lawn store. I'll actually link it to you. I'll show you here really quick. I'll show you guys here in the chat. If you go to shop and just click on shop, it'll take you to all the collections. And if you scroll down here, most of you guys probably don't scroll down this far, but if you scroll down here, you'll see this infographic that pretty much sums up and as a step-by-step how I would recommend going about taking a lawn that is not great and transforming it into an awesome lawn. And again, step 1, eliminate weeds. Step 2, do a soil test. Then fertilize your lawn based on the soil test results, then mow some more, and then the byproduct is that you get a great lawn. So what I'll do, Mike, is I'm going to send you a link. I'm not sure if this is going to be clickable on Instagram, but that link that I put in there now, if it's clickable, go there. There's a graphic in there, an infographic in there that shows that process. But yeah, I would go after both of them is what I'm trying to say. I would not, get rid of the weeds and start feeding your lawn once you get your soil test done. And as far as soil test goes, I recommend the one from My Soil for a couple of reasons. One, they're easy to use. You get your results quickly. You get your results in about a week. And the nice thing is, as you do this, as you say you do one now, you do one in the fall, it will save, your results are saved in their portal. So your ability to compare soil samples and see how your soil is changing over time is very easy if you use one of these versus if you go and get like a soil test from an extension office. Nothing wrong with doing that, but then you got to hang on to that piece of paper, right? And then as far as comparing it, you got to kind of look at the graphs, and you can't literally overlay them as nicely as you can when you're dealing with like software. So for all those reasons, I would recommend going with this. And we carry them on the golf course lawn store. And again, it takes like a week to get your results once you send it out. So hope that helps, sir. And again, congrats on the new house. All right, we have a super chat up next from Mr. Dalvin Larry. Thank you so much, Dalvin. I appreciate it.
Super chat received.
He says, Ron, this week has been a nightmare. Alec got back with me, and apparently the bearings in my gear failed. The worst feeling in the world is having a broken mower during the growing season, impatiently waiting for parts. Yes, for you guys that don't know, Dalvin got one of the new Alex, one of the new Sterlings, and I had the videos in the academy, like in our private Facebook group. But I didn't ask you ahead of time if it were okay to show it, so I didn't download it, and I'm not going to show it because I didn't ask permission, right? But the way the drive system works is like it comes off the top pulley, which is where the motor is, I believe, and there's like an idler. And I believe that idler pulley, the bearing for that idler pulley, like I guess the housing that holds the bearing broke or shared. So his mower's currently down. Alec's taking care of it, but yeah, it happens, man. I mean, with mechanical devices, sometimes you're gonna have mechanical failures. The good thing is they're taking care of it, so you should be good to go here. Once they get you back up and running. And I think you are now the show sponsor based on that super chat, Dalvin. I think that is correct. So your name in lights, whatever that means to you. I hear you. It really stinks to have your mower down. Here's the thing. Here's the bright side. It's better that it happens now than happens like next month. Like this time next month would be worse. It happening in June would be even worse because the grass is growing that much faster, and a week or two without being able to mow, or however long it takes them to get the part to you, that's not going to be a lot of fun. So if I had to pick a time for my mower to break, it would be this time of year, not in the middle of like late spring, early summer time frame, because that's when the grass is going to be very unforgiving if you don't mow it. You know, keep with your mowing. So yeah, that's kind of silver lining, I guess. So hope that helps, sir. Keep me posted as far as how it goes getting the mower back together. Next up is Yamahawk Gold. He says, hi, Ron. I was late on during my soil test, and my soil pH is pretty high, 7.09. That's on the higher end of the acceptable range. I wouldn't consider that really high. I mean, it's the higher end of the Goldilocks range. Using Magical Purple Bag, should I expect a quick turnaround, or would it be several months regardless? Yeah, pH, it depends, Yamahawk Gold. There are some soils that you can make a correction to. You can make an amendment to, and you see change within a couple of months. There's some where it's a constant thing, and you have to keep upping the rate to see any kind of change. It really depends, right? It depends on where the pH, like I think that in soil testing parlance, they call it the buffer pH, like where your soil just naturally likes to be, and how much you're trying to move it away from that. The fact that you're at 7.09, that again, yes, that is high. It's high for the Goldilocks range, but it's not like you telling me your pH is at 7.5. 7.5 is that's getting up there. 7.09, higher than I would like it to be, but it's not something that I would be completely stressed out about, especially if you're putting down Magical or some other sulfate to help lower the pH levels. Just keep applying it, and then test in 3 months and see where things are, and just I really wouldn't sweat it too much. It's not something I would lose a bunch of sleep over, because you're not way outside of the Goldilocks zone. And pH, unlike the other levels, other macros, the other parameters is probably a better way of saying it, that we track in our soil, just takes longer to alter than like your macronutrients do. So just keep an eye on it. I wouldn't worry about it too much. And you're saying, would it take several months regardless of pounds? It depends. Like I said, I'll tell you, like my lime, this is 2 years ago at this point. My lime was trending low. I think it was like 5.8 or something, right? And then I did a lime application. I think it went out at 30 pounds per thousand. It's been a couple of years. I don't remember exactly. But I think it was 30 pounds per thousand is when I went out with not a calcitic, it was a dolomitic lime. And when I tested again in October, so 4 months later, the pH had jumped into the mid sixes. So it moved up over the course of three to 4 months. I had a pretty good movement in my pH levels. So, but it all depends. Also, every soil is different. Every lawn is different. You know what I mean? So again, I would not worry about it. You've taken corrective action. Allow that to work. If you want to test again in 3 months, you can. If you want to test again at the end of the season, that's fine too. But I would give it at least 3 months before I looked at it again, and before deciding whether you're gonna make another application. So hope that helps, sir. And appreciate the comment. Scott R is up next. He says, for what it's worth, on the phos discussion, 1 pound of actual phos is applied as approximately 2.3 of P2O5, the stuff in fertilizer. I believe the conversion rate is something like 0.436 by times P2O5 equals the amount of phosphorus. Cool, Scott. Thank you. That's thanks for sharing that. I appreciate the additional insight. Very, very cool. I think Scott, I'm not sure if you told me. I think you work based on your avatar. I imagine you work on a golf course, but I think last year or at some point you did say that. I believe that's what you told me. And based on your comment, I'm kind of leaning towards you do something in the professional turf industry. So good stuff, man. I appreciate the additional context. All right, next up is Mr. Timothy Smith. He says, I sent some pics. That 0.20 makes me really think life. Really awesome pictures. Yeah, here's the thing. 0.20, here's the thing. It sounds good. It's like owning, it's like owning a hyper exotic sports car. Not that I own a hyper exotic sports car, but it's like owning something that's really exotic and hard to come by and hard to maintain. It sounds really cool at when you're just thinking about it, but then actually having to live with it is a completely different thing. So it looks good. I mean, I'm not going to listen. I'm not, no shame in his game, man. That looks incredible. You can't, that looks good too, but what I was trying to show is that looks incredible. And for this time of year, that's completely doable. June timeframe, that's gonna be a challenge. It's gonna be a lot of work to keep that up. I don't see an email from you as yet. I don't see an email from you from Tim. Actually, yeah, I do. I just got it. It just came through. Ooh, that looks good. That looks nice. That looks nice. You guys want to see Tim's lawn? So I can make this happen. See if I will not break my will not break the live stream by doing this. So that looks pretty good. That's clean. That's clean, Tim. We will accept that. That looks solid. That's fire. Looking good. Looking good. And then his vanity strip. I guess he just Tim probably ran out in the middle of the show because these pictures they were taken very quickly. So he ran out. So overall, it's looking good, man. I gotta admit. I mean, it's looking good. But you're right. You know, the 0.20 makes you rethink life. That's an entirely different level of commitment. That is when real mowing becomes like a job. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm not sure if Robert works from home or he just has the time to do it. But that is not for the faint of heart, is what I'm trying to say. You know, that's not something that I would. You guys won't find. I don't think you'll find any content from me where I'm telling you guys you should mow your lawn at like 0.20 or 0.25 or really even under half an inch, because for most people, they're not going to be able to keep it up. It's a lot of work to do that. Not just only in the mowing, but everything else you have to do as in addition to the mowing to keep the turf looking good at those lower mowing heights. It looks awesome. You can't fault it. Can't fault the awesomeness, man. It looks really good. All right, next up is Anthony Davis. He says, how many times a season do I need to spray a Celluprint on the lawn for it to build up in the soil? It doesn't really build up, Anthony. So as far as applications, I typically do it once. I apply a Celluprint this time of year, late March, April timeframe, and that is typically it for me. That has served me well as far as keeping armyworms out and keeping other lawn damaging insects out of my lawn. There are people that will do an application of insecticide in the fall as well. I personally have never had to do that, but if you wanted to wait and do another one in the fall, you could. It's just not something that I've done on my lawn, or nor do I really recommend, because I haven't seen the need to do it, right? But once this time of year, assuming you're applying it at that, where is it? This is it, at the 0.20 per 1,000 square foot rate. So this guy, well, wrong camera, 0.20 with a gallon of water over 1,000 square feet. So those of you guys on Instagram, right there, 0.20 with a gallon of water over 1,000 square feet. That's a good rate that controls armyworm, like pretty much all your turf caterpillars, as well as grubs, billbugs, annual bluegrass weevils. You can go higher than that, but I've just not seen the need to. I mean, this stuff is not inexpensive. So if you can use less of it and get a good result, why not, right? Why not save the product? Next up is David Casillo. He says, are you going to top dress your backyard again this year? I don't plan to. I don't plan. I'm not going to say no, because something always happens and it might happen, but at this point I'm planning no. I'm not thinking. I'm thinking no. I'm thinking no. It's not final answer, but I'm thinking not this year. I'm just going to mow and I'm just gonna just enjoy the lawn. I'm not planning to top dress this year, David. That's the plan. We'll see. We'll see. I've said that in many years past, but this time I might actually be able to pull it off. All right. Archie Amos up next. He says, young man, in one of your episodes on leveling, you use a sand spreading machine. Where can I find it? Home Depot and Lowe's don't have a clue. Yeah, so those are they're not common machines to find, Archie. So the one that I showed in that video is I got it from Keystone in Duluth. So if you call there, Pat, or what is the gentleman's name that you'll speak to? But anyway, if you call there, tell them Ron sent you, and tell them you want like the top dressing package. So the top dressing package comes with the machine, the dingo to load it, to make loading it easier, and an aerator and a trailer to pull it all. So Archie, what I would say is if you could find an area, find a shop, a store, or a business in your area that rents turf equipment, you might be able to find someone that has a top dressing machine. The one that I use in that video is from a company called Earth and Turf. It's a really great machine. It works awesome. So if you can ask around, if they look for like Earth and Turf dealers, what you might do is like search around your area for Earth and Turf dealers and then see if there's anyone that also rents the equipment. That would be my my recommendation. Yeah, Home Depot and Lowe's are not going to have that because, first of all, most people are not going to top dress their lawns. And as far as being able to get it at home, it's not just it's more of a process, right? Because even having that machine, really, you want that machine and you want a dingo, because it's one thing to have the machine, but you got to get all the material in it, right? And you don't have to stir and shovel all that sand or whatever you're using into the top dressing machine. It makes it a lot easier for you able to have like a mini front end loader to just load up and 3 dumps, and you're done. And it's like a well-oiled machine. You get a lot of top dressing done quickly. So I would try and find a place that has a package that gives you a dingo and the top dressing machine, because that's what's really going to shine. The machine in of itself is good, but it's not like, in other words, if I were doing the machine just by itself, I don't know. I mean, it's better than doing a wheelbarrow, but not a ton better. You know what I mean? Because you still got to load it. You still got to load it, and I mean, it does do a better job more evenly distributing the material on the lawn. So there is that. But having a way to speed up loading it is where it really shines. So hope that helps. If you're in the Northeast Georgia area, look up Keystone in Duluth. They're off of 120. So like where Peachtree Industrial and 120 are, there's a quick strip there. Turn right. They're going to be like less like a quarter mile down on the right, and they can take care of you. So any of you guys in Georgia, I mean, most of you guys are like, where? But if you're in Georgia, you're Northeast Georgia, you know what I'm talking about. And tell them what Ron sent you. They'll probably charge you double, but they'll have a good laugh at the same time. All right, next up is Scott R. He gives us an example. His example: using a 0.440, apply 5 pounds per 1,000 square feet, multiply 5 by 0.44, the percentage of P205 in the bag, and that is 2.2 of P205 applied. Multiply by 0.436 to convert to P, and gives you 1 pound of phosphorus per 1,000 square feet. Appreciate that, Scott. Appreciate you chiming on that. Very nice, very cool. Thanks for giving us an example. Examples definitely help. All right, next up is No Name. He says, hey, Ron, is it too late to use insecticide, or are we still within the window? You're still within the window. There are some places that don't even do it until May timeframe. But yeah, you're still within the window. You can absolutely still use insecticide. You remember, like if you look at a product like Caravan G, which is a combination fungicide and insecticide, with that one, you'd want to wait until next month. If you talk to Syngenta, they'll tell you wait till May, June to use Caravan, because not so much for the insecticide portion of it, it's more for the fungicide. That if you're only going to apply fungicide once or only do it as a preventative, May timeframe, if you're in the Southeast anyway, is the time that's going to give you the best bang for your buck as far as helping to arrest the spread or prevent the spread of disease in your lawn. So to answer your question, no, it's not too late. You can still absolutely apply it. There's no problem. There's no problem with doing that. There's really not any time throughout the growing season you can't use a Acelepryn. It's just I do it earlier in the season because I don't want to give the bugs a chance to create problems in my lawn. So that's my reasoning behind it. Yamaha Gold is back. He says, hey, Ron, I started the spoon feeding method with a stress 5020 at, I think you meant 7020. 7020 at 3 pounds per 1,000 square feet and 6 ounces per 1,000 on a bi-weekly using Turfplex. But I think on your last live stream, I should have went heavier on the granular. Thoughts? No, it's okay. I mean, you're going, if you're going to start out with that fertilizer, if that's going to be what you're starting the season with, but you're not going to be running that throughout the entire season, you're fine. You're fine. So, but what I'd say is whenever, for your next app, I would transition to a fertilizer with a slightly higher amount, with more nitrogen in it. So like Humic Max, like a 1608, that's a good option for regular feeding. But for starting out the season with the 7020, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. As far as the spoon feeding program, like the one that I teach in the Golf Course Lawn Academy and that I've done in public YouTube videos, a lot of it's based around Humic Max. So it's Humic Max at 3 pounds per 1,000, and which gives you half a pound of nitrogen, and then the Turfplex at 6 ounces per 1,000 twice per month, once on the 1st, once on the 15th. So you're good. You're good. Again, the season's just starting, right? So it's not like the lawn needs a lot of end just yet. So yeah, no problems there. Just if your next app, transition to Humic Max and keep the same rate on Turfplex, and you are good to go. Good to go. Because also, I have headway G waiting for next month per the calendar, but I'm hearing it's okay to start now if you see damage or not. Yes, if you see damage or you have a history of disease problems in your lawn this time of year, apply the fungicide. Like, do not wait until you see it, you see the problem. Because here's the thing, once you see it, it's not like you apply the fungicide and on that same day, it's gonna stop, right? It's gonna get a little bit worse from the time you start noticing it, then it'll stop, and then the lawn will begin healing. So if in April, like in my lawn, if you see where you have you've had disease problems this in your lawn this time of year, do not wait till May to get your preventative fungicide down. You know, there are some people that apply fungicide when soil temps get into the mid 50s. You know, there's people that do that, and they'll do another one now. So they'll do one like in early March. They'll do another one now. For most people, unless you have a history of disease problems, that's typically not necessary. But yeah, per the calendar in the academy, if you don't have disease problems, start next month. If you do have a history of disease problems in your lawn, like large patch forming, those kinds of problems, this time of year, start now. Don't wait until the problem manifests itself, because by then it's too late. Then you're in for like a 2-3 week healing period. You know what I mean? So yes, you're not gonna hurt anything by starting now. Make sure you water it in, you water it in properly. All right, next up is Latanja Moore. She says, how often can you put down headway G? Great question, Latanja. So the memory serves me, the annual limit of headway G per 1,000 square feet is around 19, I think it's like 19, just over 19 pounds. Just over 19 pounds per 1,000 square feet. So if you take like the higher end of the application rate, so 4 pounds, that's about four-ish applications, between 4 to 5 applications per year. Here's the thing though, I would not do 2 applications of the same fungicide in a row, like within, let's say, in other words, say in the springtime, right? Let's say like right now, this time of year, you're having a disease problem in your lawn, right? You do an application of headway now. You do another application 21 days later. That should clear it up. You really shouldn't be a problem from there on out. But let's say you get around to like July and there's like some summer patch or some other problem coming in your lawn, which again, shouldn't be an issue, but that's happening. In that case, if you can, I would rotate to a different fungicide. So a good option, it can be like Headway is a 3 and 11, and Pillar SC is also a 3 and 11 mode of action. So you could rotate to Pillar. You could rotate to like a 336F, like the Clary's product. You could rotate to that. But what I'm trying to say is, even though you're able to do 4-ish applications in a year, that doesn't mean I would do necessarily 4 applications of the same fungicide in a row. You know what I'm saying? So you can do like 2 with this, and if it happens to be that you still have a disease problem in your lawn, again, you really shouldn't. But if it happens that you need another one, like during the growing season, I would rotate to something else. So again, Pillar SC is a good option. The Clary's is the 336F is also a good fungicide as well to use. So yeah. So, and the same thing for this. This is rated at, it's 5. I think it's 5 applications per year. So it's 1 ounce per 1,000 square feet, no more than 5 in a calendar year. But it's the same thing. I wouldn't, run like 5 applications of this, in a row. I wouldn't only use this. It's important to rotate your fungicides, especially if your lawn has a history of disease problems, because you don't want it to take the chance of it forming resistance. So hope that helps, Latanja. The answer to your question is between 4 and 5. What I would say is don't do more than 2 of the same one in a row without rotating. That would be a recommendation. So good question. It's a good one. I want to try and prevent a yearly fight with fungus when it heats up. Yeah, so what you could do is you could do Headway in May and Headway in June, and then that's it. Or if you had Pillar, you could do Pillar in May and Pillar in June. And then if you still had a disease problem during the growing season, kind of unlikely, but if that were to be a thing, then rotate to something else. So hope that helps, Latanja. Great question. I like where you're thinking. It's a good question. See, that's also good too. The fact that you ask, hey, how much of this stuff can I put down every year? It shows, you're trying to respect the label. You're not trying to put too much of it out. Good stuff. I like that. I like where your mind is going. Very, very good stuff. All right. So when I look get the super chat up and look for a question here, I got one from the Instagram. So Yankees Dolphin says, what exactly does spoon feeding mean? Thanks. Great question. So spoon feeding is, how can I explain this? Spoon feeding is kind of what it sounds like. Instead of giving your lawn the bulk of the nutrients that it needs for an entire month in one sitting, you break it up and you give it, you dole it out in smaller amounts. So for example, take Bermuda. Bermuda needs, because conventional wisdom will say Bermuda wants about a pound of nitrogen for 1,000 square feet per month. That's about what it needs during the growing season. So 4 to 5 pounds per year, thereabouts is what they say, right? So you can go out and buy like a extended release fertilizer, something that's going to feed your lawn for several months, and you apply it like once, and then what you're going to find is you're going to get like a flush of growth. The lawn's going to green up nicely, and then it's going to slowly fall off. As far as how quickly it grows, and also just the consistency and color and that kind of thing, right? Because if you think about it, it's really difficult to create a product that releases evenly over a long period of time. It can be done, but it's not easy. Like a good example of that, especially for a lot of the fertilizers that you'll find in the big box store, because for a lot of those, they will be the nitrogen will be coated, and what they're relying on is that the coating wears down over time, allowing the nitrogen to release slowly. If you step on the prill, or if it's broken, or you cut it with your mower, then what's supposed to be slow release ends up being quick release. It becomes available much faster than it's supposed to. The way you can do slow release, I wouldn't say do it correctly, but doing it where you get a better result is the way that Lebanon does it. It's the way that the Andersons does it in some of their fertilizers, is to use a homogeneous prill. So if you look in Primo Maxx, right, you see the blue in there. That blue is their methylene urea, which is their slow release nitrogen, meaning that if you cut it, it's still going to release at the same rate, because it breaks down slowly over time. It's not relying on coatings to control how quickly the product releases. So to come back to spoon feeding, the idea, instead of using a fertilizer that's designed to feed over an extended period of time, I like to take the approach of feeding the lawn several times in smaller amounts over the course of a month. If you think about it from the standpoint of eating food, right? You could eat like one large meal a day and you would live, you'd be fine, right? You could do that. But you're probably not going to feel the best when you first eat the big meal. You're going to be bloated. You're going to have more food than you really need, and then towards the end of the time, or as time progresses away from when you first ate, you're going to start feeling hungry again. Much better to eat the same amount of food overall, but you eat breakfast, you eat a smaller amount, you eat lunch, smaller amount, you eat dinner, you eat a small amount, right? It's the same thing with your lawn. So if you could go out there and you can, instead of giving the lawn a pound of nitrogen all at one time, they say at the beginning of the month, why not give it in my case, I give it half a pound of nitrogen to start the month in the form of a granular. And then I do a liquid on the same day, and then I do a liquid again 15 days later. What that does is it smooths out the peaks and valleys in color, in growth, and it just helps the lawn to be more consistent. And what I find is you can actually get by with putting less nitrogen in the lawn. You're able to put less fertilizer in the lawn by taking this approach, because you're giving it just what it needs and what it consumes when it can consume when it needs it, if that makes sense. So it is an approach. It's an approach of how like professional turf is more done. So like the spoon feeding is what you see being done on professional sports fields, on golf courses, and it is more involved. But it's in my opinion, produces a better result. And for most of the people watching, like if you're watching this live stream, you're a lawn nerd. If even if it's your first time watching, bump it up. Officially, you're a lawn nerd. So the idea of getting out there in your lawn a couple times a month is not off-putting, something you look forward to doing. So if that's the case, if you getting out there and spraying your lawn twice per month isn't a big deal to you, spoon feeding is something that I recommend, because there's just tons of benefits to it, right? You're smoothing out the growth and the color of your lawn by doing that. So hope that helps Yankees Dolphins. Hopefully, I know I went off on a little tangent there about the different types of nitrogen, but hopefully that's the idea behind it. Kind of like how you eat like 3 meals a day in most cases instead of just one large meal. Same thing for your grass. Give it smaller meals throughout the course of the month versus one really large meal. It tends to do better. It tends to like that better. And it tends to look better by taking that approach. All right. Next up is Shauna553 says, we want fast release after aeration, correct? You just want, I would say, give the lawn, you want a fertilizer that is correct for your soil. If you look at most fertilizers, very few, outside of like urea, most fertilizers, most granulars anyway, are a blend. Like there's a blend of fast and quick release. Take, for example, Humic Max. Humic Max is 35% slow release nitrogen and 65% quick release nitrogen. So it's, if you want like a fast release or a faster releasing granular fertilizer that's going to feed your lawn for over around a 4 to 6 week period, 4 to 5 weeks thereabouts period, Humic Max is a good option. That is what I would use after aeration. So you asked me what fertilizer would I use after aeration? Humic Max. So hope that helps, guys. Thanks for the questions on the around spoon feeding and around fertilizer types and release rates. Fun stuff. You guys are trying to get kind of hardcore, man. Getting kind of nerdy here. Getting kind of nerdy with it. I like it. I like it. All right, so we have a super chat here from Cedric G. Let me get down here and get that really quickly. All right, thank you so much, Cedric. I appreciate it.
Super chat received.
He says, Big Ron, is pre-emergent effective when temps are above 60 degrees? Yes, it is effective when temps are above 60 degrees. But the thing is, it's not so much a temperature thing. Well, it isn't. It isn't. The idea behind pre-emergent, it works best if you apply it before the weeds you're trying to control germinate. Like that's it, full stop. The whole temperatures that you see on product labels saying, oh, when soil temps get to be 55 degrees, get it down before then. It's not because it's a restriction on the herbicide itself. It's more along the lines of, hey, crabgrass, spurge, the stuff you're trying to keep out of your lawn during the spring and summer, they start to germinate. They start to show up when soil temps on average are in the mid 50s. So get your pre-emergent down, get it applied, get it in the soil prior to then, so that it can prevent those weeds from taking root. So it's not so much a temperature thing from can you apply pre-emergent when it's 60 degrees out? It's like, how effective is it going to be for controlling the weeds you want to control if you wait that long? So like I say practically every week, when it comes to pre-emergent, a little bit early is better than late, because once, outside of a few of them, like Spectacle has a little bit of reach back, Dithiopyr has a little bit of reach back, but most pre-emergents, like for prodiamine, for example, if you apply prodiamine after crabgrass has already germinated, sorry, after spurge already germinated, it's not going to do a whole lot for you. You know what I mean? It works. It's got it in the name. It's prior to the weeds emerging, pre-emergent. Prior to the weeds emerging is when you have to have it in your soil. Have to have it applied and watered in to get a good result. So hope that helps, Cedric. If you've not yet applied your pre-emergent, please get it down. Please, small PSA. I mean, you're already behind the curve. Get your pre-emergent down. Don't wait. Get it down. You need to have cool season grass. You should this time of year, you should be looking to get your pre-emergent down. You should be doing that at this time of year. So I appreciate the super chat, sir. Again,
super chat received.
Thank you. Your name in lights, for whatever that means to you. You are now the show sponsor. Thank you for all of the love and support. All right. Next up is Tyler Dye. You're very welcome, Yankees, Dolphins, no problem at all. Thank you for the question. Tyler Dye says, what's the go-to manual reel mower? I would tell you the Scott's. My tried and true Scott's 20-inch is pretty legit. That's what I like. But there's a new one. I don't have it myself. I've never actually used this mower myself. But I think it's called from Earthway. I think it's their manual reel mower, because the Scott's is like a 5-blade reel, I believe. This guy is like a 7 or 8 blade. I'm trying to find it here. I'm trying to find it. I'm not sure if I've got. I'm trying to find it. But if you go, I think it's Earthwise or Earthway. It's not Earthway. Earthway is a spreader. I think it's Earthwise. Maybe. Let me try and find it for you really quick. Yes. Here we go. So you got. No. Yes. Scott's makes one too. Yeah. So Scott's has got an 18-inch 7-blade. 7-blade. Mine was the older one. It was the 5-blade. So this guy, I'll give you a link here to it, Tyler Dye. This guy is what I would say to go with if you're looking for a manual push reel mower. Here's the thing. No shame in a manual push reel mower. I used to mow 12,000 square feet with one of these mowers, which, again, sounds like absolute craziness when I say it now, but I did it. And it made me appreciate my power reel mowers that much more. So this is what I would say. This is the one I would say to go with if you are, see, manual reel mower. Yeah, so Earthwise. Shauna is saying the Earthwise 7-blade is a good one. Yeah, so you guys got someone else endorsing it, saying that it's a great mower. And yeah, I imagine the Scott's is probably it's likely the same thing, just rebranded for them. But yeah, this guy is what I would go with. That is, if I were buying a manual reel mower today, that is what I would get. So hope that helps, Tyler. And that can be a good gateway into the power reel mower. You know, that's a good way to get to scratch that itch and get you going as far as on reel mowing. Good question. Kevin D Jones is up next. He says, "Good luck on the tournament this weekend. Would love to see your skills. Am I right, community?" Yeah, I mean, I've got an older video. I think I've got an older video of me competing. I think I've got an older video of me completing. Actually, yeah, I do. Yeah, this is one. I mean, it's not filmed that. It's filmed in portrait, so it doesn't look that great. But if you guys want to see me doing, this is the form I'm going to be doing actually tomorrow. Kung San Kun. It's the same one. So this video was 2-3 years ago. I forget how many years ago this was. It was a while ago. So was it my best execution? I mean, it was enough to win, but it's still. I mean, when I looked at the video now, I still cringe. But this is Ron open hand form. So that right there will take you to it. That's the video of that last year. And if you want to see the sword form, Jungkook, yeah, I'll find that one. I'll see if I don't know if I have a video. Yeah, I do. I got a video of the sword form too. So yeah, so if you guys want to see that, that is in the chat as well too now. So you got the open hand form and weapons form, and I will try to get better video this time around. And yeah, so if you guys want to see me doing my thing, that was from a couple years ago. I'll be doing those exact same forms again, because as a third dan, those are like the most senior forms. Those are the forms that we can do in competition, or we should be doing in competition. So there you go. If you want to see me screaming like a crazy person and throwing kicks and swinging a sword around, there you go. There's the videos of it. All right, next up is MC. He says, do you know in general what nutrients, macro, micronutrients, are usually high or low with clay soil in Georgia? It varies. It varies, MC. It's not, every soil is different. Like I could go pull cores on the soil across the street and go to the lawn right next to it, and the nutrient levels could be completely different. So it's not a, no, it's not, I can't say across the board in Georgia, like you're always gonna have, it's not like Texas where you see a lot of soil test results. If you're like in the San Antonio, Fort Worth area, like if you're like middle of Texas, you tend to see soils with higher calcium levels. Like that's a thing in Texas, and at least in Central Texas anyway. I can't think of something like that that's similar like for that in Georgia. The one thing I'd say is that in this area, our soil pH levels tend to lean more acidic, towards the acidic side. Not in all cases, but in general, most of the soil test samples that I look at from Georgia, that need pH adjustments, in most cases, it's an acidic soil that needs lime versus an alkaline soil that needs some kind of a sulfate. That's in general, not all cases, but as far as the trend goes, our soils tend to be more acidic than alkaline. So I hope that helps, MC. The best way to know is just you already sent a soil test result, but I mean, just what you did, taking a soil test result is the best way to know what your particular soil needs and how to go about, how to go about correcting it. Like you get your soil test results, you can either interpret it yourself or you can send them to me. I'll read over them, say, hey, this is what I think, this is what I would do if I were you, and then you can proceed accordingly. All right, next up is Philip Hong. He says, hey, Ron, lots to do for me. Lots to do for all of us, sir. So scalping my zoysia, which has 2 to 3 inches of thatch. Whew, goodness gracious. Aerating, lowering soil pH, leveling the lawn, killing sedge and spurge. I live in Hawaii, which is growing season all year long. Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of work cut out for you for sure. But I mean, it's all part of it, man. It's part of the game, right? It's all part of it. You have to. Here's the thing when it comes to lawn care. I'll tell you, Philip, I mean, and I've said this on live streams before in the past, but really, with everything I do to my lawn, if I can get like 3 weeks, there's like 3 weeks out of the year where I look at my lawn and I'm like, yeah, this is fire. This looks good. I am happy with this. But you know what? It doesn't stay like that for long. I mean, it stays like that for about 3 weeks, and then it'll fall off a little bit, and then you'll have problem areas that'll develop in certain areas. So you just realize that it's very much a journey. And that, there are always going to be adjustments. There's always going to be peaks and flows. Like the reason why the Masters is held in April, or I'm not sure the only reason why, but a part of why they choose to hold the Masters in April this time of year is ryegrass looks amazing. Like ryegrass looks awesome this time of year. Like if Augusta National were in its natural form, where they were showing the Bermuda, it would not look that great. It looked like my lawn. It looked like Robert's lawn if we were lucky, right? But I mean, it would not look that awesome. So with all lawns, all grass types, there is a part of the season where they peak and they're looking their best, and just outside of that, you just manage the appearance. You know what I mean? So just enjoy it. It's all part of it. There's always something to do, and that's what makes it fun. I think that's why I like lawn care. Same reason I like martial arts. Like it's never perfect. Even when you do a really good form, a really good execution, there's still something that could have been better. Even when I do a lot of great things on my lawn, there's still things I could have done better. And I enjoy that. I enjoy the chase. I enjoy the chase more than the result. So next up is Leigh. She says, what do you recommend to kill Bermuda/weeds in mulch beds? Usually in mulch rings around trees. Okay, so you're trying to eliminate Bermuda grass in mulch beds. Okay, so so there's a combination I can tell you that will work for that, but you have to be very careful with it because it is non-selective, meaning that it will not only kill Bermuda grass, it will also kill or at minimum injure any other plants or grass that it gets on. So you can use a herbicide called Fusilade 2. From Syngenta, and then you can use a glyphosate, like a 41% glyphosate product. I use a product called Eraser, but you can use any 41% glyphosate. But Fusilade and Eraser, like a 41% glyphosate and Fusilade 2, that combination will kill Bermuda grass. Like not like knock it back, like it will kill it. Like it will, it's not gonna, like I have an area in my bed that I sprayed the summer of last year, and it's still not greening up. It's still not growing back yet. So what will happen is Bermuda will get back in the beds again, but it will be new Bermuda that creeps out of my lawn into the mulch beds. It's not that grass that was there last year. So Fusilade, glyphosate combination is what I would say to go with. But again, it's non-selective, so you got to be really careful. So if you got like any ornamentals, any plants you're trying to protect, you just got to be careful because it will injure those, So if it's just strictly a mulch bed, like it's just mulch, like how my beds are, just nothing but mulch, then go to town. You know what I mean? I would still use a piece of cardboard to shield, so when you're spraying, to prevent drift from getting onto your grass, onto your lawn. But that will knock out Bermuda. That absolutely will do it. Fusilade 2, so like an ounce and a half of the eraser of the glyphosate, and then I think it's half an ounce of Fusilade, like that combination, 1.5 of the glyphosate and half an ounce of the Fusilade with a gallon of water. That will do some nasty stuff to Bermuda. What you'll find if you decide to go with that, Leigh, is like for the first week you will not see very much. By the time you get to like day 10, the Bermuda will begin losing its color, and then it will quickly accelerate and die off, and then it just won't come back. It'll be gone. It'll be dead. Like the only grass that will get back in those beds is whenever new Bermuda from your lawn creeps into there. So hope that helps, sir. I think I have a short on that somewhere. I'm pretty sure I do, but actually I do. Here you go. Boom. Found it. Yay for the power of search, guys. So yeah, this right here, which I will share with you. And if you go in the description, actually, let's do this. So these are the links to the products I'm talking about for one. Let's see, let's do this way so that they're actually clickable. So there's thing 1 and there's thing 2. And this is the, let's see, this is the, here we go. This is the video. So I'm going to put the actual link to the video in the chat as well. So at Leige, this video here is the one I'm talking about. But again, I have to say it is non-selective, meaning it will kill and or damage any plant life that it gets on. You have to be careful with this. You see when I'm using it's strictly in a mulch bed. If you have roses or any other ornamentals, you got to do something to protect them. You can't get this stuff get on them because it will damage. It may not kill them, but it's definitely going to damage them. Definitely going to damage them. All right, next up we have from Instagram. I'm sorry, from Instagram. From Instagram. We got Papa Mo's Low in the house. He says, I know you've discussed spreaders many times. What make and model do you have? I have 6,000 square feet, so I don't need more than a 50-pound model. So I have the Earthway 2050P Papa Mo's Low. It is, I think it's an 80-pound. But you can get smaller ones from Earthway. I'll put a link here in the chat for you. But I mean, if this link is will take you to like the Earthway, the Earthway store on Amazon. So if you go here at Papa Mo's Low, that one right there, That will take you there. The 2050P is the one I have. Even though it's an 80-pound, it's not big. So I wouldn't even, it's not like getting like the Lescos where the, Lesco 80 pounds, it's a big spreader. It takes up a lot of real estate. This guy's relatively small. It's a small spreader. So if it were me, I would go with the 2050P. That's what I would roll with. It's not, it's not going to be unwieldy, or it's not going to take up a ton of space in your garage. It's even though it's an 80-pound spreader, it's not a very big 80-pound spreader. So that link will take you there. If those of you guys in the chat also care as well, this is what I just shared with the guys in Instagram. That's the spreader that I use, the Earthway 2050P. That is the one that I like. I like it so much that I bought a second one after I gave my first one to my good buddy Alex. So it's a good spreader. We got Mr. Robert Rainey, Mr. Mowing Low and Dominating the Neighborhood in the house, saying, what's up, everyone? What's going on, Robert? I've already shown everyone your lawn, how awesome it looks, and how you're dominating everyone. But I'll show it one more time, one more again. That's his lawn. You see the 0.20 high to cut. Makes me sick to even see that. And then, of course, to see, it's one thing to see you're cutting at 0.20, but how does the turf look? Is it like scalpy and all nasty looking? No, it's not. Color looks great. I mean, the stripe action is going to be a little bit light, which is you're going to get when you're cutting that short, but it looks solid. It looks solid. I have to admit, Ramsey, he likes it too. He likes the lawn as well. Good work, sir. Very, very nice. On the topic of nice lawns, Gary B from last week sent me a picture of his lawn. This is a taller lawn. I think this is fescue lawn. That looks nice too. That's solid. Color looks awesome. Looks very, very nice. That is not mowed, obviously, at 0.20 inches, but you wouldn't want to mow a cool season lawn of the fescue lawn that short. So looking solid. Looking solid. So both cool season grass and warm season grass can look pretty awesome this time of year. Jonathan Daza is up next. He says, Ron, I feel like it's getting serious. He says, hey, Ron, when should I dethatch my turf-type tall fescue lawn? I'm located in Los Angeles. Thanks. You can do it now. What I would say is I would not do, if by dethatching you mean turf raking, like removing like the old dead material, like like getting like lowering the thatch levels in the lawn, using like a spring-loaded system to do that, like a gentle way of doing it. You could do that now if you wanted to. The hardcore metal hook like dethatcher that like is ripping big chunks of turf out, unless your lawn has a really serious thatch problem, which I kind of doubt, because I've seen you on the live stream, I've seen you on the content for a while now. You probably take good care of your lawn. I would lean towards the former. Don't go or towards the turf raking or scarifying approach versus like a heavy dethatching of your lawn. You can do it now, and the recommendation is, as always, is to go light. You know what I mean? Don't be too aggressive with it, because you don't have to. You can go fairly light and still get a lot of debris out and still have your lawn look really nice. If you go too aggressive, you're going to damage the lawn. You're going to tear a bunch of good grass out, and then you're going to be left with the turf look being unnecessarily thin. You may have to seed to get it to thicken back up again. So just go, whichever way you go, try to lean towards not going too aggressive with your approach of reducing thatch levels in your lawn. So that would be my recommendation. All right, Shauna553 from Instagram is up. She says, think about pulling the trigger on a reel mower. I like it. I mean, you're not going to, if you're looking for somebody to talk you out of it, wrong place. There's any cons to the California trimmer with a grooved roller for a beginner? Nope, nothing wrong with that. In peak season, I mow every 2 days, so I'm ready for the work. Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with a trimmer, especially with a grooved roller. I mean, check out Real Rollers. I was talking to Lee the other day. I think they just got some California trimmers in stock. So if you're looking for one, they can probably make that happen for you pretty easily. So I think they're 20-inch models is what he's got. So reach out to Lee at Real Rollers and he'll be able to hook you up. But yeah, but if you're getting one, you're going with the grooved roller, good to go. Yeah, nothing wrong with it. I mean, again, True Cut, McLean, Trimmer, those are all, in my opinion, all in the same tier of reel mowers. Of those types, I like True Cuts mainly because I have one, I've used it, and I like the propulsion system of the True Cut, but there's nothing wrong with the Trimmer, nothing wrong with the McLean, and you can frankly get those now. Like, True Cuts are really hard to come by these days. So, if you can get a trimmer, as long as it's set up properly, kept sharp, you put a good roller on it, which you're going to do, you can get a great result with it. The big thing is, the mantra, keep it sharp and use it often, and you're going to get a great result. So, hope that helps, Shauna. And when you get the mower, email me a picture of it, and we'll show everyone your new acquisition on the live stream. You got to show off your new hardware once you get it. We want to see. Next up is Steven Hightowers. He says thumbs up. Thank you, Stevens. I guess that's better than thumbs down, so I appreciate the thumbs up. And then 2 Trilla says, did I miss something? It's Thursday. Okay, so last week I ended and I said, hey guys, I got a martial arts tournament this weekend, so live streaming, we're either not going to do it or it's going to be Thursday. And everyone said Thursday. I also posted on the community, like YouTube community. If you go to the YouTube channel, the last community post is like the thumbnail for this live stream, and it's got Thursday, like the date 4/13 on yellow on it to say that it's tonight. So I try my best to Trilla. Again, you know, like you and McNasty Motorsports, like I feel like you guys don't even pay attention to me. It's like you're here, but you're not really here. I feel like that girlfriend that, you know, that works out and, you know, goes and gets her hair done and, you know, trying to look nice for you, and you guys don't even notice. You don't even notice I did my hair. You don't even notice that I'm been working out and I'm in shape. Like these very simple things, even though I'm shouting, I'm loud about it, you're just not seeing it. And it kind of makes me kind of hurtful a little bit. All right, on to Anthony Davis. He says, how do I use the floodjet chip with the 45-degree adapter? Or should I use a different one? The particular angle makes it shoot back on your shoes. What additional adapter do you suggest? I have the FZ sprayer. Yes, so how can I explain this? You need to turn, so the 45-degree adapter, you need to turn it, you need to have it angled to where the tip is parallel to the ground. Because remember, the floodjet tip is, it's got like a notch cut in the side of it. So, you know what? Hang on 1 second. I'll show you. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, I'm back. Okay, so this is my floodjet tip that's got water all over it because I always clean up my sprayer. So this is easy just to show this. So you have the 45-degree adapter, right? This, get here. Get this because I don't want to drip water into my drink. This is a 45-degree adapter. And you say to yourself, yeah, if I use this, I'm going to blast water all over myself, right? So if this is connected to your wand, so goes to your wand, it's connected to the handle, you want the tip, you want it angled like this, towards flat to the ground, and then you turn, you orient the opening towards pointed down. So what happens now is you're holding the wand, as you guys on Instagram, you can see this, you're holding the wand, and this now, instead of blasting at your feet, so if you do it like this, like how you're thinking, like where it's connected this way, then yes, you're absolutely gonna be spraying your feet. That's not gonna be good, you're not gonna like that. But if you turn it this way to where it's, the wand is here, and then it's angled, it comes out and it's parallel to the ground, and then you orient the notch down, it will be spraying straight down now. So you won't be hitting your feet with it anymore if you do it this way. So this 45-degree adapter will work. You just need to rotate, the nozzle in, there we go, hang on. You just need to rotate the nozzle in this fitting the adapter so it's right. So again, this is where your wand would be connected to, and if you do it right, this is how it'll be. So this is pointed down, and this is the way to do it. If you do this, you won't be blasting your feet. So hope that helps. And same thing, Offered NV. Hope that helped for any of you guys on Instagram. Same thing. This is how you should set it up whenever you're using the floodjet tip. So the notch is down, your wand is connected here, and this makes it parallel to the ground, and it just blasts straight down. So it doesn't get your feet. Your feet don't get all soaked in mud. All right, cool. So hopefully that helps, guys. Sorry I had to run away real quick, but it's like I could have explained that 1,000 times without actually showing you, and you guys have been like, I kind of get it, but I don't get it. But if I actually show it, it's easier to make sense, right? Easier for you guys to see. So that is how you use the 45-degree adapter and make it, you get a better result with spraying. So, and I only have to do that. You only have to do that with this, with the floodjet tip. With the foliar tip, you can angle it like this because remember, this guy is spraying straight out. It's not firing down. So with this one, I do have it angled, like I'll have the wand here and I'll have the foliar tip like this, and it's spraying in front of me, slightly away from myself. So that's how you set this up. The orientation needs to be different between the floodjet tip and the the flood jet tip and the foliar tip. And if you do that, you get a good result. So hope that helps. All the reason to have two of these. I have two. I have one that just stays like this for flood jet, and I have another one that I keep the foliar spray tip in. So hope that helps, guys. If you need anything else, let me know, Anthony. Hopefully my explanation and illustration makes sense. All right, so we have another super chat, one from Mr. Luis Ayabarreño. He's in the live stream. He says,
Chat received.
is it crazy I just real mowed 1 acre with a 16-inch earthwise? Yes. Yeah, I can't help. I can't justify that one, man. That's a different level of commitment. That's 4 times. That's 4 times of what I did. That's a lot. His neighbors are staring like I'm crazy. Okay. The greenest grass, dominating before even applying. First application tomorrow, 12/0/24, Essential G. Can I also apply Carbon Kit? Thanks. Yes, you can. You can do. You can do all of those tomorrow if you wanted to. No problem at all. And you know what the thing is? You got to think about it. Yes, your neighbors think you're crazy, and I gotta say, push real mowing, an acre with a 16-inch earthwise. That's dedication. So we'll say, well, that's dedication. It's highly dedicated. But it's all in the results, though. I mean, what are you gonna say? What are you gonna say? Like your lawn looks better than theirs. So until their lawn looks as good as yours, like they can't. You know, why? I guess in some ways, why do you care? You can't care what they think. You know what I mean? Kind of like you don't take money advice or financial advice from people that aren't wealthy. Like don't take like grass advice from people that don't have good looking lawns. Like their lawns don't look like your lawn. So why? I mean, it might bother you a little bit to have them think that you're nuts. But I mean, obviously your process works, right? So I would say stick with it. And eventually they'll come around. And eventually you're gonna get a powered reel mower, Luis. You may not realize this. You may not know it. All the rest of us know it. It's just a matter of time. So this is just training wheels. This is just a gateway, a stepping stone to your the mower you're eventually going to end up with. So thank you so much for the super chat, sir. I appreciate all the love and support. And if you have any other questions, definitely let me know. I'm not sure if I did this. We'll do it again anyway.
Super chat received.
Thanks again. All right. Next up, we have... Let me see here. Yeah. Next up, we have Devil Larry. He says, I looked at my backpack. You're right. The double lines is for the low speed or the down position. I had it backwards. I assume double lines was for high speed, even though it's labeled LOL. Yeah. So I just listened to it. You can hear like it's a very different, like whenever you're running on the high setting versus the low setting, like you can just flip to the low and you'd be like, and you go to the high, it's like, you could tell like the pitch of the backpack sprayer changes and the amount of product coming out changes too. But I'm pretty sure down is low and up is high, I think. Don't hold me to that, but you can listen to the way the sprayer is running and you can tell which one is high and which one is low. And for all intents and purposes, outside of fungicide apps, I use the low for everything else. So for pre-emergent, for liquid fertilizer, for herbicide, for pretty much everything else other than fungicide. Anything that requires a 1 gallon or that I dilute at 1 gallon of, I dilute the amount of active ingredient with 1 gallon over 1,000 square feet. That's where I use the low rate or the low setting. If it calls for more carrier, so more water, like 2 gallons per 1,000 square feet, that's when I kick it up to the high one, just so I don't have to walk the lawn like 17 times to get all the product out. So hope that helps, Dalvin. I'm glad we got to the bottom of it. All right, so we got one here from Two Thumbs 2020. He says, what's your take on aeration when it comes to seeding? I have an extremely patchy lawn, dethatched, overseeded, lined, fertilized, watering. Current temperatures are in the 80s. Oh, you did lime. Okay, you did lime and then fertilize. I don't see anything wrong with it. Here's the thing. Would I say that core aeration is required as part of a seeding project? No. It's not like most grass seed doesn't need to be buried very deep. It's like an eighth to maybe a quarter of an inch. It doesn't take very much. But most grass seed does not need to be buried that deep. So the idea that, I'm going to core aerate the lawn, so I have all these holes for the grass seed to fall into, not really a thing, because most grass seed doesn't need to be buried like inches underneath the surface for it to do well. So it's just not a thing. If you want to core aerate, like as a way to thin out the canopy, open up the canopy a little bit, open up the lawn, there's nothing wrong with doing that. So I guess what I'm saying is there's nothing wrong with core aerating, but it's not like it's required to get a good result whenever you're doing a seeding a seeding project. Probably more important than aerating is thinning out the lawn some. Because if you have, think about it, if you have a grass that's already, like your lawn's patchy, but if you think about it, for seed to germinate, it needs heat, it needs sunlight, it needs nutrient, right? And if you have a thick lawn, which I don't know why you'd be overseeding a thick lawn, but if you have a really thick, a thick stand of grass, that's going to make it harder for heat and sunlight to get down to the seed that's trying to germinate. And even if it does germinate, it's going to be competing with this really thick and already established grass to be fighting for nutrients with that as well. So more importantly than core aerating, I would say if you can thin out the lawn a little bit, like if you're going to be doing some overseeding, if you got, sounds like you got like cozies and grass, if you want to thin out the lawn a little bit, like that would be more the way I would go than saying that aeration is strictly necessary. In other words, if I could do one of the two, if I had a choice between core aerating a lawn or like verticutting or doing something to thin it out a bit, I would lean towards whatever process you took to thin things out a bit over core aeration. Nothing wrong with doing both, but if I could only do one, I would want to thin the lawn out a little bit for the reasons that I mentioned. Like you're just going to make it easier for your for the seeds to germinate. So hope that helps. Say you're going to be aerating with the Sunjoe, or you're going to be turf. You're aerating with Sunjoe, covers with peat moss. Yeah, that can work. Nothing wrong with that. That's definitely a plan. 2 thumbs 2020. Good question. All right, so next up, we have, let me see here. Next up, we have Justin Judkins. He says, after learning about the sub-air system at Augusta National, I don't feel bad about my lawn not looking like that. Yeah, I mean, it's like you can't even see half the stuff that makes Augusta National look the way that it does. He says, I don't feel too bad about my lawn after not looking like that. Maybe that can be your next investment. Here's the thing, I haven't even looked into what it would cost to have one of those installed. I imagine you have to do quite a bit of damage to the lawn to install it all, and then it's probably pretty awesome. But I can look, but it's probably one of those things where if you call them and you have to ask for a quote or ask how much it costs, you probably can't afford it. And being a residential lawn, they'd be like, why do you want this? Are you insane? Are you crazy? I'm like, yes, I need one of these in my life. I do. I'm telling you, just let me know how much it is. I'm gonna make it happen. They're looking like a crazy person and not take my calls anymore. And I don't know. I just don't think that it's there's a reason why Augusta National has that, and most golf courses don't have anything like that because it's expensive. It's expensive, you know what I mean? It's not just buying it and putting it in. I'm sure there's maintenance involved in it, so it's like anything. Augusta National is like the McLaren F1 of golf courses. It's a unicorn. Like it's like a purpose-built machine to do one thing for one tournament. And it does that very well, but is not something that most courses can aspire to all the time, to maintain all the time. Like most courses, like whenever they have a tour event, that's when they'll kick it up. They'll really kick in a high gear and really start, improving or increasing their amount of applications and the amount of cultural practices they're doing, their mowing and everything else to get the turf looking good. But they don't run it that way year round because it's expensive. Unless you want to pay $300, $400 green fees. If you want to do that, then yeah, they could do it every year, but most people wouldn't want to pay that. So they just, from a financial standpoint, they can't do it. And Augusta National can. All right, Magnesium Motorsports says, Ron, wow, what can I say? Feels like I'm sleeping in the garage tonight with the car and the mower. Things aren't looking so bad after all. Oh, it's a good comeback. I like it. It's a good comeback. That's good. That's good. That's good. Let's see. Tom Halfenkamp says, hammerhead worms. Is there an effective side for these? I've not heard of hammerhead worms. That's an interesting one. Let me see if that's on the label for a Celoprene. I've not heard of that one. What are? It's like a hammerhead shark. I have not heard of hammerhead worms. Yeah, I don't see that on I have to take a screenshot of that one and get back to you, Tom. I don't know on that. So hammerhead. This is a first. I've never heard of hammerhead worms before. So let me do some digging. I will get an answer for you, and we can make it a talking point for next week. On the topic of next week, guys, Devin, you guys remember him? Devin Demir 91. We're working on it, but he might be on next week's live stream. We're going to try and make that happen. So if you guys have tons of cool questions about golf course stuff, building a green in your lawn, lots of cool season questions, feel free to get those queued up. I believe next week we're going to be able to make that happen. So just giving you guys a heads up. But I'll also look into this as well, Tom. I don't know for hammerhead worms. I don't even know what they are, but I'll look into it and I will get an answer for you. All right. Yep. And then next up is Alex Ristiano. He says, follow-up question. After aeration, I plan on putting down humichar, insecticide, and lime. Then the topsoil on top and seed. So aeration, biostimulant, insecticide, yep, and lime. Okay, yeah, that all works. And then topsoil and seed. Anything else you would add or do differently? I took photos just now. Yes, I would say no, not really. If you're planning to fertilize, that it would be a good time to do that as well. So, but with the only thing I would add in there is a granular fertilizer. If you're planning to, that would be just the one thing you're not doing that, as part of a seeding project, I like to do. But yeah, that looks solid to me, Alex. Not a whole lot about that I would change. This looks like a solid plan, sir. I like it. I dig it. All right, I see you sent pictures. Cool. I'll look for them here in a second. I'm not sure if you sent them to me or you sent pictures for yourself, but I will look for them here in a little bit. All right, we have another super chat from Mr. Jamar McKinney. Jamar McKinney.
Super chat received.
He says, evening, Ron. I shot you a pic of my yard, which has never been leveled. Have you ever heard of using potash sand combo for leveling? No, I've not heard of doing that. Soil test needed. Central Texas and yard isn't popping. Common Bermuda. Yeah, so I've not heard of using potash and sand. No, I've not heard of doing that for leveling work. I don't know why that would be a good idea. It seems like you would just spike your potassium levels. It just seems like it really, or your phosphorus, your potassium levels doing that. Like I don't know why you. I mean, maybe it's a thing. Maybe it's a thing, but I don't know that I would no, to answer your question, I've not done that. And I don't see your picture, so maybe it hasn't come across yet, or it got hung up, depending on the sizes of the image, the attachments you sent. I'm not sure. I don't see it as yet. So if you can send it again, maybe use smaller attachments. I'll look again here in a little bit. All right. Next up is let's see what we have here. Next up, we got Mary J. Mary J's in the house. What's going on, Mary? She's just tapping in, Ron. Good luck with your weekend activities. Thank you. I'll need all the luck. I need tons of luck for it. Should be a lot of fun. Stressful but fun. Says, I finished hand pulling weeds for my lawn. First time I've ever been able to manage weeds by pulling and really enjoyed myself. It is. Here's the thing. Manual weed pulling, while a lot of people kind of look at it like, it's a pain. I don't want to get down on my knees and have to be out there pulling weeds in your lawn. It is surprisingly rewarding. And it's almost like whenever you do turf raking in your lawn, it's the same kind of feeling. You just feel really good when you got this big, your bucket's full of weeds, you got a couple of bags full of weeds you pulled out of your lawn, you just feel like you're making progress. So I completely get where you're coming from. It's the same kind of feeling you have when you do turf raking in your lawn. So yeah, I get it. He said, thank you for all you do. Truly being able to admire my lawn and the work I put in really means a lot to me. That's awesome. He says, I still have many ways to go, but I have Bermuda and no weeds, just needed to fill in. That's all this. We're all on different stages of where we want our lawns to get to. And here's the thing, once it gets there, it won't stay there forever. It's still going to mean like your normal is still going to be better than most people's. I mean, your normal will be better than some lawns best. But here's the problem. It's just human nature. As it gets better, you're always going to keep pushing it. You're going to be like, oh, this looks good, but I want it to be, I want it to be the lower height of cutter. I want something else. You're never going to be completely happy with it, which is fine. And as long as you're a person that can live with not being completely happy, you're always chasing to try and make things better, you can enjoy it. You can enjoy it. I mean, look at Robert. Last week he was at 0.40. Was that good enough? Nope. He's like down to 0.20 now. I can't imagine what he's going to try next week. I don't think his John Deere will go below that. Maybe not. He may have it on the deck. Because if it could go lower, knowing him, he's gonna try for it. So we'll see. 2 thumbs up. What's your take on soil testing? What's your take on soil testing? Pros and cons. I think soil testing is an underutilized tool in residential lawn care. I think it's an underutilized tool. Here's why. Like if someone sends me an email, they say, hey Ron, your lawn looks great. I want my lawn to look like yours. What fertilizer should I use? I can tell them, yeah, go get a starter fertilizer because it has a bit of everything in it, but it's not necessarily the best fit for your soil. And fertilizer isn't the only consideration when it comes to having great soil. Like pH is hugely important. Like how well your fertilizer works, especially the availability of nutrients, particularly your micronutrients, like largely hinge on your pH being in a certain zone, right? And the only way to really know what that is by using a soil test. So these things literally cost $30. If you get one that has the probe, I think it's like $60. Like you only got to buy this thing once, but normally just the test itself is just 30 bucks. Like it's literally the best $30 you can spend in your lawn care journey, because whenever you go out to go buy fertilizer now, if you have a soil test, you have the data. When you ask me, when you say, Ron, what fertilizer should I use? And I say, where's your soil test? And you zip them up and you send me a screenshot of it. I'll be like, oh, based on this, I would get this, this, and this. And then you know that what you are applying is the correct fit for your soil. So it's to give a good example, an analogy I like to use is if you went to the doctor's office, right? Like think of your lawn as like a living, breathing thing, because it is, right? And your soil like a living, breathing thing. Even though it looks like it's static, it's just dirt, it's actually alive, right? It's a thing. If you went to the doctor's office and you were not feeling well, in your case, like your soil, your lawn is kind of thin, it's not looking that great, your grass not looking that great. If you went to the doctor's office and you were not feeling well, you went to the lobby, you filled out the paperwork, you sat down in the lobby and you're waiting to be seen by the doctor. And the next thing you know, the nurse comes out with a prescription and says, hey, the doctor's written out this prescription for you. Go to your local CVS or Walgreens, fill this, make sure you follow all the instructions, eat when you take this medication, and, come back and see us in a month. Let us know if you feel better. You would look at them like they were crazy. You'd be like, you guys haven't taken blood. You haven't checked my heart rate. You haven't asked me any questions. You haven't done any of this stuff. And you're prescribing me a solution. It's the same. And that's how most people choose their fertilizer. They literally go to Home Depot. Like literally, you want to see something that's interesting? Go to Home Depot about a month from now. Like actually around now, really next month in May. And just watch the fertilizer aisle. There's people that are like deciding they're going to start feeding their lawn. And they just go out and they're just looking and deciding, I have no idea which one I should get. And they're just going to just like lick their finger and just pick one. And that's how they feed their lawn. And they wonder why they get like a less than optimal result, because you're not feeding it based on data. You're not just like you wouldn't expect your doctor to prescribe a medication to you without doing studies, without taking blood, without taking samples, running tests. It's the same thing with your soil. Just like you're alive, soil is alive. And a soil test is going to allow you to know what vitamins, what inputs, what things to add, what things to not add, so that you create the best possible soil. And then awesome grass is a byproduct of great soil. So it's like chasing grass by itself, or a green lawn in of itself, is not really the best way to go about it. Like create awesome soil and then green grass, like awesome grass is a byproduct. So hopefully that helps. Soil testing, again, it's not sexy. People don't want to do it because it's not like fertilizer, right? Like, oh, I can't do it on, get a soil test done. It doesn't turn my lawn green, but it's one of the, like, it's the best week you will spend in lawn care if you've never done one before, because it takes literally from the time you buy one of these, you take the sample, you send it out, within a week, you're going to get your results in email, and then you're going to know exactly what you should be doing to your lawn. And then it's really hard to not get a good result if you just follow like the instructions based on what your soil is telling. Your soil is saying, hey, I'm missing this, this, and this. If you give me this, I'll probably do okay. And if you do that, you'll be awesome. So hope that helps. Two thumbs. Again, the one that I recommend is this because it's easy. It tests all the different nutrient levels from nitrogen all the way down to your micros as well as pH, and they're easy. It's easy to understand. So we sell these on the Golf Course Lawn Store. And yeah, hopefully my example, my analogy of why soil testing is important and why you should consider doing it at least once. If you only do it once in your entire life, at least do it at least once. And which I think you'll find is once you do it once, you'll do it at least twice a year, because there's a ton of value in it. All right, next up is Lance F. He says, Ron, thanks for all you do. How can I bring up my boron levels? I'm sitting at 0.13 in the soil test. The soil test says, okay, cool, I got you. So for your boron levels, what I would say, Lance, is if you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to shop, and then go to the lawn fertilizer section, which is highly curated, by the way, and you go to Nutrizolve. This has got all of your micronutrient demands covered. In Nutrizolve, you will find boron, copper, chelated iron, molybdenum, manganese, and zinc. So your boron levels are a little bit low. This will correct that because it has it, right? So the application rate for Nutrizolve is 6 ounces per 1,000. So 6 ounces mixed with a gallon of water sprayed over 1,000 square feet. And that will help correct your boron levels. It'll help bump those up. So that is what I would use. That is what I would go with. And I will help you out here. I will put a link to it in the chat for you. And that is a link to Nutrizolve. That is what I would run on your, to help improve your nutrient levels, your boron levels. So hope that helps, sir. All right, next up we have Oliver Ridham. He says, hello, Ron. If we choose to use liquid aeration, would it be as good as mechanical? Nope, not even close. It's not even not. I mean, I would no, it's not the same. This is what would we put down after? So liquid aeration is like if you use some of these products that have like molasses in them, or pretty much they're products that help to generate a lot of, they have like sugars that tend to try and boost microbial activity as a way to help break down fats, and they do help. There is value in them, but they are not as good as physically removing cores, physically removing a plug of soil to allow air, water, nutrients to get down in the soil. It's just not, they're just not even remotely in the same universe as far as effectiveness. If you have a highly compacted lawn, using a liquid aeration product, I mean, it's better than not doing anything, but it's not going to be the same. Like after I aerate my lawn and I go walk on it, literally I can feel the lawn feels soft. It feels malleable. Like you can feel it literally like moving around underneath your feet because you've opened up all these voids that allow the lawn to relax and kind of move around. You know, it's a great way to help relieve compaction. What I would say is do like mechanical core aeration. So I get like either you do it or pay someone to do it, and then combine that with the liquid aeration products, like that will help improve, stimulate microbial activity, like any kind of kelp product, like the humic acid products. Those are in the ballpark or in the universe of liquid aeration. They help stimulate microbial activity, which helps break down fats, which helps relieve compaction in lawn, which it just has a lot of benefits to it. But it is not as good as mechanical aeration. Case in point, if liquid aeration were as good as mechanical aeration, golf courses and professional turf fields would do it, because liquid aeration, there's no downtime, right? Like you spray it and the lawn is magically aerated and you don't have any downtime. You don't have to like shut down greens. You don't have to worry about people not being on the turf because you can't play on it. But the reason why they aerate, why they get out there with like some really heavy equipment and they literally punch holes in the soil and pull all these cores out, is because it is the best way to relieve compaction. It just is. Like the liquid products can help supplement that, but they are not even remotely in the same universe as far as effectiveness for relieving compaction in your lawn. So I'm not, you should still use them. I mean, use them with use them with mechanical aeration, but it's not a substitute, is what I'm trying to say. And it is better than doing nothing, but it's not the same. They're not the same. They're not even remotely the same as far as effectiveness. All right, next up is Robert Rainey. He says, I came in late on the point. See, here's the thing too. Here's the problem with lawn nerds too. You see, he not only is he mowing short, he got to come in and flex too. He's like, I came a little short on the 0.20 talk. I just got in for a rain session out there hitting. I do work from home. Living that 0.0 lawn life. You guys, they're 3/4 of an inch. I don't know. It seems kind of long and scraggly having my lawn that long. Let's tell you all the it's like subtle lawn care trash talk. I can feel it. Maybe I'm being sensitive, but I think you guys can feel it too, right? He came in. He wanted to be fashionably late with his entrance, is what I'm saying. He says, but most of the work in the backyard gets done in the early morning. That's not counting the 3 acres that has to be maintained. Wow, dude, you have a lot. That's a lot. That's a ton to keep up with. A ton to keep up with. And if you guys don't know, if you just joined the live stream, Robert Rainey is, he is currently the holder of the Lawn Domination Award with a lawn that looks like this. That's his pooch, his dog on the lawn. And you say, that looks really good, but then the height of cut is what's really impressive. So you see how nice and green that is, right? Color looks great, stripe action looks good, a little bit light, but that's what you get with those height of cuts. But the height of cut that he's at is below 1/4 of an inch. It's 0.20 inches, which is, it's kind of hard to put into words how hard that is to do and maintain on a residential lawn. That's really hard. That's quite an accomplishment, especially for it to look as good as it does. So, props sir, hats off to you. Really good work. And I want to see at this point, I just want to see how long you're going to keep it up. I want to see how long you can maintain it. Because here's the thing now, whenever you mow now, we're going to have to see a prism gauge as well. You say, oh, it's this height. I want to see the prism gauge along with it. So I know you're all set, so you can do that. So I want to see how long you're able to maintain it at that cutting height, because it does look really good. It does look really, really good. Off-Road NV from Instagram says, happy Thursday, Ron and green grass folks. What's going on, Off-Road NV? All right, next up is Petro. He says, Ron, when do you recommend spraying Hydrotane? I have a brand new entire jug I bought last year. You can do it the beginning. You could do it at the beginning of April. You can do it at the beginning of May. What I would say is every 2 months. They say that it will last for up to 3 months, but given how well the product works, I would not want the effectiveness of it to wear off, especially in the middle of summer. So you could do it. You could do an application. Let's say you start in May. You could do one in May, beginning of May, and then May, June. The end of June, you do another one, and then that's May, June. So May, June, July, August, and the end of August and early September, you could do one more, and then that should call you good for the season. That's if your goal is to help the lawn manage heat stress. You know what I mean? If your lawn stays green well into late in the fall, you can continue applying it every couple of months. But I mean, if the goal is just for taking the edge off of heat stress and helping prevent localized dry spots, I would say either start it like this month already and just every 2 months from the time you do your first application, apply it again, and that's going to do a good job with reducing your watering requirements and just allowing your lawn to resist heat stress. So good stuff. Hopefully that helps. If you need anything else, let me know, Petro. And then Edub says, "Hey Ron, what's up? At what temperature will Bermuda start to spread and fill in bare spots? I am getting impatient. When it gets hotter, it's not hot enough yet. It's like what is it today? What was the temperature? I don't know, my phone's on nighttime mode. Let's see. I think it was probably in the 60s or 70s when the air temps are consistently in the 80s. So think next month, like mid next month, when it starts like mid-May into June is when Bermuda's really going to take off. Like the middle of next month is when when the heat really arrives, it'll start spreading like wildfire. So it's just going to take time. Enjoy it. You know what I mean? Just enjoy the process. It's going to, depending on how patchy your lawn is, it may take longer, but I mean, it's still early in the season. And here's the problem too. We had, unfortunately, our March threw us a curveball, guys. Like we started out, March was looking great, and then we started warming up, and life was good. We were all throwing a big party, lawns were turning green, and then we had that week period there in late March where it got in the 20s. It was like 20s and 30s for like a week, which really set a lot of lawns back. Like my lawn didn't go back to full dormancy, but it fell back quite a bit from that. A lot of your lawns did the same thing, so we're having to now come out of that and have the lawns ramp up again. So we are a bit behind the curve than what we would have been had that not been the case. But it is what it is. We're here. So I would say Edub, as long as you are you keep up with your mowing, mow your lawn. Make sure you're feeding it properly, so you're feeding it a good nutrient program based on your soil test results. It will eventually fill in. Eventually, you're going to spread. I wouldn't worry about it. Bermuda is not a grass type you have to worry about growing in and spreading because it's very aggressive once it gets hot. It's just not hot enough yet. So mid-May is what I would say is when you should start really seeing it take off. All right, next up, Clarence Barber is here. He says, always wanted to recon the weed company trucks, Scott's, Davenport, Weedman, etc., for their formulas to see what they're using and charging people. LOL. I don't know if they'll tell you what their formulas are, but you can. This earlier in the season, like a couple months ago, you can tell. I can tell what they were spraying because whenever one in like late February, mid to late February, there you see all the trucks out rolling out and spraying lawns, and you don't have to ask them. You see them out there with the shower head spraying. You see like yellow stuff coming out. I'm like, yep, that's prodiamine. You don't have to really ask. They may have some other stuff in the tank as well too, but prodiamine is definitely what they're spraying that time of year. And as far as their other applications, I don't know if they would tell you that because it's not really. I mean, I don't know if you consider it really a trade secret, but their process, like especially if they produce a good result, they're not. I don't know if they're going to share that with you because that's part of what they get paid to do, right? So I don't know if they would. They'd be very forthcoming to say, yeah, we use this product, in these ratios with this much. You could ask, but I would not be shocked if they told you, no, we're not telling you that. So yeah, you could ask them, but I don't think you're gonna like the answer you're gonna get. You're probably gonna get a non-answer, is what I would imagine. All right, next up is Melvin Otta. He says, hey Ron, should I stop my monthly Primo Maxx? I'm going to be leveling my land. It's up to you. I do not. Like I have I can't tell you how many top dressings I've done. My lawn has been under regulation. That said, my lawn's also been top dressed a bunch of times. So when I top dress it, I do a full top dressing, it's relatively light. So the lawn recovers quickly. If you want to recover faster, don't use growth regulator. Like it's just this nature of the beast. It's going to recover faster if it's not under regulation. That's just the way it is. It's not like it won't recover if you have it under Primo, but if you're planning, especially if it's your first top dress, I would say don't use Primo on it. top dress, allow the lawn to recover. It's gonna take a couple of weeks to do so, and then you can apply Primo Max, and then just go on the every 15 days type program for spraying that. That's what I would say. If your main goal is I want it to bounce back as quickly as possible, don't use growth regulator. All right, next up, let me see. I already answered Petro's question. We got Clint Brock in the house. He says, order the 5K carbon kit. Nice, Clint. I like it. Fist bump. Says super high pH clay. Excited to aerate the sand. Level to get the sand in the soil. What are some things I can expect to change, i.e. watering times, rebound times, schedule, etc.? What you will find, the biggest change I found, Clint, when I started top dressing is drainage. Like that's, yes, the lawn looks cool. Yes, you look at the pictures of the lawn, it looks pretty awesome. Oh yeah, it looks like a golf course. Yes, from an appearance standpoint, very cool. However, the biggest benefit is just how it pulls water away from the surface. Like you guys have seen pictures that I'll show like in my YouTube stories, or I'll post on Instagram sometimes where like I'll get like a lot of heavy rainfall and there'll be like a lake that will form out there in the lawn. And literally once the rain stops, hours later, it is gone. Like there's the one time, not this last rainfall, but like 2 weeks ago, we had like a ton of water and it was like a big lake. It rained in the morning, and by that afternoon, it was dry enough to where I could mow it. And when I say dry enough to where I could mow it, not dry enough to where I could mow it, and it was like the mower was sliding around, or my foot was stinking in, it was like splashing around or creating like ruts. It was firm. It was firm enough that I could mow it without causing any damage to the turf. So the biggest benefit outside of appearance, which that's the reason why most people do it, is drainage. It drains so much better once you do top dressing. It's your first one, you're gonna notice a big difference. And if you do a couple of them, like you do subsequent top dressings, it's gonna get even better. So yeah, that's the thing I would say you could expect to change. You didn't say if you're real mowing or not, but if you're real mowing, expect that you're going to have to likely send your mower in for a sharpen after, if you start mowing after top dressing, unless you're going to allow the grass to get relatively tall, unless you let it get to 1.5 inches and then slowly work your way back down to whatever height you want to maintain it at. Because if you get a reel into sand, like just one mowing session of doing that, and you can try backlapping it, but it's going to need to be sharpened. Like just running a reel in sand is really hard on it, and you're going to lose any edge you have. So that's the one thing I'd say to be conscious of if you're real mowing and you're top dressing. Either one, be patient, let the lawn get a little taller, and then slowly work your way back down, or two, just plan for a sharpen shortly after you resume mowing after your top dressing, because it's like sand is hard on reels and bed knives. All right, next up is Mr. Jeffrey Lancaster. He says, Ron, I applied pre-emergent Caravan G, a combination of Celsius and Certainty. Did a soil test, and the recommendation was the Lebanon 14714. Do I use it all year? Primo and 901C used for this year as well? It depends on where your phosphorus levels are, Jeffrey. If your phosphorus levels are low, so if you look at the My Soil test, it'll show like low, it'll show low, optimal, high. If it's very low, like it's not anywhere near even moving into the optimal range, I would run the 14714 all season. And then you can test again in the fall and see what your phosphorus levels did based on those inputs. So, but if you're just barely outside the Goldilocks zone, then you might be able to get by with like 2 apps and then switch to Humic Max, and you'll be good from there. But either way, it really depends on how low your phosphorus levels are. And so yes, so the answer is it depends whether you use that or not all year. And Primo Max and 901C for use this year as well. Nice. I like that combination with Primo. Check out the blog post that we have on using Primo Max. It is, if you go to guides and then blog, it's going to be here on plant growth regulation, how it can help make your lawn thicker and greener. Talks all about PGRs, the benefits, why they're awesome, why you should use them on your lawn. Talks about Primo Max. And then this section talks about how to avoid tip burn, which it very briefly explains the process that I like to use for applying Primo, which is to take the monthly application rate, divide it in half, and spray it every 15 days. You're still going to get great regulation with that approach, and you're going to get none of the negatives. But yeah, that's the only other thing I would tell you. And yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy the process. I'll tell you, there's life before Primo and there's life after Primo. It is a lot of fun. You're going to wonder why you waited so long. And if you're interested in reading that blog post, I put it in the chat for you now, so you got that to check out. Thanks for all the support. Next up is Mike D. He says, I think the best manual reel mower that people talk about is the Hudson. Oh, it's a good point. Touche. Is the Hudson Star. Have you heard about that one, Ron? It's like $2,000 for an 11 blade. Yes. So I have heard of the Hudson Star. I have not seen one in person. I think there are a couple of YouTubers that have one and they seem to like them, but I've never used one in person. So I don't know how good or not good they are. But I have heard of them. They look really cool. I've never seen one in myself to be able to tell you whether they are actually good or not. All right, so we got Fred is back with a vengeance. He's like he's taking over. He wants his sponsorship back. Thank you for the super chat, Fred.
Super chat received.
So Fred, I think that puts you at 110. So we will put you back as the show sponsor. Your name in lights. So Fred J627. I think that's right. Yep. Thank you so much, Fred. I appreciate the super chat. And there you go. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. Thank you for all the support. All right. So next up, we have Justin Judkins. He says, random neighbor, your lawn really isn't that nice. Ron pulls out a sword. What was that? I love the skills, man. It's fun. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Again, martial arts and lawn care have a lot in common. Or at least the way I'd like to do lawn care, have a lot in common because it's a constant chase. You're always chasing something that you're never really going to ever, attain, and that's the fun of it, right? So lawn care is kind of the same way. All right. Next up is McNasty Motorsports. D-Dom says, when should microorganisms be sprayed? After fungicide is sprayed. Oh, okay. So you're asking when should you be using biospectrum? I just give it a week. So if you did your fungicide application like you did Headway or Pillar SC, I would give it a week after application, and then you could follow up with with biospectrum. You could, again, it's not going to hurt anything to do it the day afterwards, but if you want to get the most out of this, apply the fungicide and then give it a little bit of time. Again, a week is good, and then follow up with biospectrum. Not going to hurt anything, but if you want to get the most out of the product, space it out a little bit. I think that's the question that you're asking, D-Dom. All right. Next is McNasty Motorsports. Yes, McNasty. McNasty Motorsports. He says, Leish, I've had good success keeping Bermuda out of my mulch beds with frequent pulling. I work from home, so that helps. Once it's controlled, a few minutes a day, 3 to 4 days a week should work. I have large beds too. Yeah, so there is that too. If you want to take the truly organic approach, just pull it. That is that's something you can do as well too, as long as you're able to keep up with it, right? You can absolutely do that. All right, Monique B is up next. She says, I applied Bermuda grass seed in Florida about 4 weeks ago. It's going well so far. When can I apply weed killer without killing the new grass? Lots of weeds, recommended products. Okay, so Monique, once you get to the point where you're mowing the new Bermuda grass seed, that is when I would feel comfortable introducing herbicide. So what I would use, I don't know what kind of weeds you have, but a good catch-all, I'll show you here. For a good catch-all is to use a product called Celsius. This is a herbicide that is designed to target broadleaf weeds. So if the leaf of the weed is broad, this probably is going to kill it. And it's also very gentle on your warm season turf. So as far as a herbicide, you can spray over a very broad temperature range. When temperatures are cool, when temperatures are hot, like in the middle of summer, you can use Celsius with little to no adverse effects on your grass, as long as you apply it the correct rates, obviously. So I would say Celsius, and then if you have sedges in your lawn, then you could go with Certainty. So I'll show you where those are on the Golf Course Lawn Store. If you go to the store and you go to shop and then go to Weed Killer, you've got Celsius and Certainty. This is for your broadleaf weeds. This is for sedges like nutsedge, poanua, kalinga, like any kind of sedge in your lawn, this will kill. And then this is good for your broadleaf. So you can use both of these together and they produce a very good result. So Celsius Certainty combined with a little bit of surfactant is going to do a great job cleaning up the weeds in your lawn. As far as when to do it, once you are regularly mowing the new Bermuda grass, then you can feel free to use these. Again, apply them at the correct rates. Bermuda's pretty hardy. It's like cool and grass you need to be more careful with, but Bermuda will tolerate it just fine. So I would recommend if you're really trying to do it right and have a combination that covers like a huge range of what's going to be in your lawn, use both of them. Use Celsius and Certainty and a little bit of surfactant for good measure. If you want to save a bit of money, you can buy all three, Celsius, Certainty, the surfactant, and a marker dye in a kit that we sell that has all of them. That is the best deal as far as from a cost standpoint, because you're getting a break on all of them. If you have a smaller lawn, another option is under Celsius. For Celsius, we now offer these packs. Actually, let me go here and show you real quick. We now offer these, which are the single-use packets. The nice thing about these is kind of cool. You take one of these, you drop it in you have a tank, your either a backpack sprayer or a handheld sprayer. You mix one packet with 2 gallons of water and spray that over 2,000 square feet. So there's not a whole lot to measure. Just one of these goes down in a couple of gallons of water, and you're good to go. So you could technically, if you wanted to save some money, you could, and you had a smaller lawn, you could get the single-use packet, the one I just showed you, of Celsius, and then combine that with Certainty and surfactant, and that would save you some money. But as far as getting the lowest cost per application, just having enough product where you could do multiple applications if you need it, the best way to go is the kit, because you get the 10 ounce, and that's enough to cover, this is enough to cover 2 acres, and then for the Certainty, it's enough to cover 1 acre at the high rate. So 45,000 square feet or 90,000 square feet approximately, between these two. So hope that helps. That is what I would use on Bermuda grass. That's going to control the weeds and has the least chance of damaging your turf. It's a very good herbicide combination that's safe for warm season turf. So hope that helps, Monique. Congrats on the new renovation project. Sounds like a lot of fun, and just keep it keep us posted on how it goes. And you know what? Actually, I didn't give you a link to that. I'll put a link to where you can find these in the store. So at Monique B. There you go. That link will take you to the herbicide collection on the store. All right. Billy Gilbert says, knock it out of the park tomorrow, dude. Thanks for the stream. No worries, Billy. Tomorrow, I'm not competing. Tomorrow I am going to be proctoring. So I'll be not just me, myself, and some of the other instructors are going to be putting the candidates through their paces. You got to earn that black belt. So their friends, family, their other schools get to see them show off their stuff. It'll be a lot of fun. So it's like 3.5 hours of a lot of work. You're moving the entire time. It's a lot of fun. Good martial arts. But the actual competition is Saturday. Saturday morning is when we compete. Black belts compete Saturday morning, and then the GUPs, it's like the color belts, compete in like late morning and then afternoon. So it's a weekend of martial arts fun. Martial arts fun. Jackie Jones says, Ron is awesome. Thank you so much, Jackie. I appreciate that. That is very nice of you to say. Thank you for the kind words. Next up is Todd Hickey. He says, Saturday is sand leveling day, 11 yards of sand. bless your heart, Todd. Good man. Ooh. Whew. Hopefully you have help. Man. 11 yards is no joke. That's 11, I tell you, 11 yards will ruin friendships. You may have to get like a lot of friends, not just one friend. Like 11 yards. Like if I said, hey Alex, we could do 11 yards on a weekend, I don't know if he talks to me anymore. I think that could put a damper on the friendship. So you got to be careful with 11 yards. 11 yards is no joke, man. That's a lot of material to put down. So have like several friends. Feed them well, make sure you guys are just making like a party out of it, to have it. And hopefully you're using some equipment. Hopefully you're not going to be manually shoveling 11 yards of material this weekend. You're going to need some equipment for that is what I would recommend to have a good result. It's not going to be fun using a wheelbarrow for 11 yards of sand. So there we go. Take pictures, Todd. Give us the before, the during, and the after. All right, next up is Gator Rub. He says, hey, Ron, is there a product that will help grass grow on clay? I live in Charlotte, NC. Yeah, so the same stuff that will help a grass grow on clay is the same thing that helps it grow in sandy soil. So it's just the correct balance of nutrients. So if you have a soil that is highly compacted, like you have a clay soil that's very compacted, grass can still grow and do very well in clay soil. What I would say is plan to do an aeration this time of year. Now the season for core aeration is open, like we're good to go. You're in North Carolina, so yeah, you're in the window for doing an aeration on your lawn. We actually released a blog post today on that topic. So if you go to the store, you go to guides, and blog, you'll see this new blog post that was released today on how to core aerate your lawn. It gives you some tips. Tershel talks about what core aeration is, what the benefits are, some tips that I like to use to help speed up the result, help you get a good result. It's a really short read, has a video. If your video is more your jam, you can watch that. But yeah, this is the time to do that. That will help relieve compaction in your soil, and it will help it make it easier for your grass to do well. So I will link that for you in. Don't do that, Ron. I will link that in the chat for you. So take a look at this this blog post and the accompanying video, and that will help you on your way. And then outside of core aeration, a soil test, fertilization, a good biostimulant programs like granular biostimulants. I'm a big fan of that. So if you do those things, you core aerate, so you fix the physical stuff, right? You relieve the compaction in the lawn. You fertilize the lawn based on your soil test results. You also introduce biostimulants to help improve soil quality. It's really hard to not have good grass if you do those things. So hope that helps. Hope that helps, Gator. And yeah, that is what I would say. That's what I would say to be the plan of action. The same products that you would use on clay soil will work on other soils too. It's just we just got to prepare the lawn and help relieve or help resolve the environmental conditions that are making it more difficult for your grass to really take off. And aeration sounds like it's one of those things that you would benefit from. All right, MC says, when did you start practicing karate? Why did you choose karate as your hobby? So when did I start? I started in 2011. Yeah, 2011. I think so. 2011. So it's been 12 years. Good Lord, that's crazy. Yeah, coming on 13 years. Yeah, so 2011 is when I started. Why? Because why did I start doing it? Because it's hard. It's hard, and because something you can just do forever. And at the time I was doing, you guys remember this program called P90X? So I was doing that. I was doing like that. I was doing Insanity. I was working out, getting in good shape. And here's the thing with me. Working out just for the sake of working out, like I get like CrossFit people like to do that and they enjoy it, but just working out just for the sake of working out is not really fun to me. Like working out and then applying it to something where I can see measured improvement is what I find attractive. So I'm not opposed to working out. Obviously, I do it all the time. I do it every single week when I'm at the studio. But as far as just doing it just for the sake of lifting, improving my deadlift, or like being able to bench more, or being able to squat more, it's cool, but it's like, it's better if I can say, oh, I can kick, my kicks are better now, or, my flexibility is better. So martial arts was a way to apply or to measure the benefits of a conditioning program, a strength conditioning program, because there's a lot of cardio in martial arts. There is obviously a strength component to it, but it's a lot of body mechanics, flexibility, and timing. There's just a lot of that. It's a lot of it's mental too, because a lot of what you go through in a test, like whenever you go through a black belt test, like the first 20, 30 minutes of the test is really just about getting the students tired. So when I'm out there, if I'm doing the warm-ups, like they're going to do 200 jumping jacks, you're going to do 50 push-ups for just the Don candidates. The E-Don candidates are going to do 75 push-ups. They're going to do burpees. They're going to do all kinds of stuff. The idea is to get them good and tired, and then now the training starts. Now we can see how tough you are here. Like when your body is telling you, this sucks, I don't want to do this anymore, can you push through it? That's what martial arts is about. That's what's interesting about it. And it carries over to other parts of life, right? Because it carries over into my career, it carries over into lawn care, it carries over into dealing with haters and detractors. Like it just doesn't it just a lot of things that bug most people. I just don't really, I don't care about it. It doesn't really bother me, because like every week I pay to torture myself. And it's just like, so when you do that for long enough, now coming up on 13 years, it just, it helps you appreciate that anything in life is a journey, and there's a process to it, and then if you stick with something long enough and you care about it, it's really hard to not get better at it. So even if you start with your lawn is not great. If you are consistent with it and you stick with it, and you always try to improve it, you're gonna make mistakes along the way, but you try and improve it, it's really hard to not get better. And most people just won't do that. Most people can't stick with anything long enough to get good at it. You know what I mean? So that's why I like martial arts. That's why I like karate. That's why I do it. It's not like, I always tell like parents whenever their kids come in to when they're doing martial arts, I say the thing you get out of martial arts is like being able to break someone's arm or throw a punch or a kick or do all this cool stuff. That is, while it's fun, that is not the most important part of martial arts. That's not the biggest benefit that you get out of it. The biggest benefit is all the other stuff. All right, next up is that text and clips says Jamar Kinley, what part? Okay, that's a sidebar. That is not for me. And that's not for me. And then this one is True Secret 1111. It says, can you apply lime at any time of the season? Yes, you can. Most people do it in the fall. I have applied lime traditionally in the fall. I have done it in springtime, and I've also done a heavy lime application in the middle of summer. I've done an application at the end of May into June with no adverse effects. The big thing is you have to make sure that you water it in very well. So if you're doing it in the middle of the season, make sure you give it a good watering in to get it down in the soil. Most people traditionally will do it in the fall or in the early spring though, but I have done it all different times of year, and it works just fine. A big thing is make sure you water it in. All right. Tom Hovenkamp says, Lewis. Okay, that's not for me. That is for Luis. And then next up we have Mike D. He says, Ron, did you say the 30-inch leveling rake is the sweet spot, or should I get the 48-inch? Only 7,500 square feet. Okay, so the 30-inch is easier to use over a longer period of time. So there's a 30-inch, there's a 36-inch, there's a 30, 36-inch, 40-inch, 48-inch. For me, the 36 or the 40 is where I would go. Probably more towards a 36 for most people because one, it takes up less space to store in your garage, and it's not going to be quite as much of a workout to use that than the larger ones. The larger ones, yeah, you are technically top dressing a bigger area at the time, but it's a lot more of a workout because you think about it, it's not just moving the rake, it's also moving all the stuff that's caught in the rake, right? So all that material, like the sand or compost mix, whatever you're using, like you're pushing all that around. So it's not just the weight of the rake, it's also the moving and the scrubbing, the working all that much material in. With a 48-inch rake, I don't have a 48-inch rake. I think mine is 40, and it's a workout. It's a workout. So 36 or 40 is where I would say most people, I would say, go with a 36-inch. You will get an excellent result with any of them. It's just a factor of one, how big of an area do you have? How flat is the area? So if you had like a lawn that is really large and it's very flat, a 40 or 48-inch might work, right? Because then you're not having to push this thing uphill. You're dealing with it on and you're gonna be able to flatten out or top dress a larger area that much faster. But if you're dealing with any kind of uneven areas or like slopes, you're gonna be better served with a slightly smaller one. And again, you will get a good result with all of them. It's just a matter of how much can you do at the same time based on the width of the rake. So 36 to 40 is what I would say, Mike D. All right, nothing new on Instagram. We got Justin in the house. Look at Lawn Whisperer. Justin's in the house. What's going on, Justin? Hope you're doing well, sir. Next up, we have Jamar McKinley. Yeah, McKinney. I keep saying McKinley. It's McKinney. Sorry about that. He says, do I need to be concerned for too much nitrogen if I use a compost, sand combo for leveling? No. Local supplier says their compost is pretty hot. I think my pigs finally sent. Yeah. So what they're talking about, that is true. If you have compost, like some compost, it will burn your lawn. Like my neighbor, not my neighbor, but do you guys remember the video I did? This is probably 4 or 5 years ago, where I did the video of the Honda HRX mower. Is the rotary mower, the Honda rotary mower. Like my buddy's lawn that was on, we top dressed his lawn and we went out with like a very heavy compost mix, like the same kind of stuff you're talking about. We put piles in the lawn and we left it there for 5-6 hours as we got around to different areas to work it in. And when we raked off of it, you could literally see where that part of the lawn was discolored from that pile being there for several hours. So that is a thing. It's a thing if you pile it up. It's not so much a thing if you spread, in other words, if you dump it out and you immediately spread it, burning is not going to really be a thing. It's more if you pile it up and you just leave it there for hours on end. That's when you're going to have some discoloration, or that's what my experience is with that type of thing, Jamar. So yeah, I would. That's the one thing I would say. Do not dump big pile. If it's very hot compost, like what they're saying, don't put an entire wheelbarrow, dump it out in the lawn and leave piles all over your lawn for several hours. That is when you're going to get some discoloration if the stuff that they're using is hot, like what I'm thinking of. And Jamar, oh yeah, I got your picture here. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, I want to see Jamar's lawn. We can do it. Can this send? Yep, there we go. Okay, so this is Jamar's. Actually, we'll go with the second one. The second one is a better picture because it shows a wider angle. And yeah. So this is his lawn. Pictures he just sent. Yeah, so that's a prime example. That lawn, that's going to be a good one. Top dressing is going to do a lot for that. Maybe two. One is going to get you 90% of the way there, and then a second one, like I'm looking here, if we go, like where the truck tire is, like the rear back of your truck tire, if you come forward or come towards us a little bit, it looks like based on the pictures, like there's a little low spot there. So that might take a bit more. It might take a couple of rounds to help, clean up that area. But overall, man, one top dressing is going to make a really big difference in this lawn. It's fairly flat. Like what you got a good canvas to start with. Like this is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, I think you'll be shocked at just one leveling, how much of a difference you're going to see in your lawn after doing that. I think you're probably going to want to go back with a second top dress afterwards. But the first one is going to get you most of the way there. It's going to get you most of the way there. Yep. Good stuff. All right. Gary Kelly Jr. is up next. He says, hey, Ron, I think no, that's wrong. That's not Gary Jr. He says, hey, Ron, I found some clover on my cool season grass. Is it okay to spray my Let's Go 4-score to kill them? I don't know what Let's Go 4-score is. If it's labeled to kill clover and it is safe for cool season grass, then yes, I would imagine it would be fine to use that. Just make sure there's no temperature restrictions. I can't imagine there would be any that you would be in this time of year because it's not that hot yet. But yeah, if it's labeled for your grass type and it is, and there's no temperature restrictions on it, which again, should not be, then yeah, go for it. Go to town. Just make sure you read the label, make sure you apply it at the correct rates, and it should knock out the clover. If it's designed to do that on your lawn, should be just fine. Sounds like a plan. Mike D says, in one of your videos, you mentioned that if we had hard clay soil, that we should pick up the cores. This is because we don't want the dried clay to hit the real mower. Yeah, so in the video that's that I linked. So if you guys see all if you're watching this after the fact, the pinned comment for this live stream, and in the show notes, the description of this live stream, and that I've linked in the show on the live stream multiple times so far. In that video, I talk about where you should pick up cores or not pick up cores. I do not pick up cores because the cores, my soil breaks down really quickly. It isn't turned into like little bricks. Some people have clay soil where if you leave the cores on the lawn, the sun hits them and they bake and they get kind of hard. In that case, yeah, you want to get them off because one, it's going to take them mainly because it's going to take a long time to break down. And yes, another consideration is if you run over them with the reel. I mean, the reel will break them up, but then you're just putting extra wear and tear on your reel and bed knife, which you really don't want to do, right? Reel mowers were designed for cutting grass, not for cutting dirt or like soil plugs. They're designed to cut grass, not dirt. So yes, if you have a clay soil. And a clay soil such that whenever you pull plugs, they don't break down, because not all clay soils this happens to. Some clay soil, the plugs still break down. So if you have your plugs where your plugs do not break down, they become little bricks. In that case, yes, pick them up, get them off the lawn, and then so you can start mowing and not have to run over them with your mower. If your soil is like my lawn, like Alex's lawn, like most of the lawns around here, then there's typically not a need to pick them up because they break down. They just, literally the front roller running over them will crush them and break them down and have them fall apart. Like in the video I show you, I pick up one of the plugs on my lawn. I actually show you, I just like touch it with my fingers and it just dissolves and breaks apart. So in that case, I wouldn't go through all the trouble and headache of getting it out of the lawn because one, it's more work, and then second, it's organic material. It's free organic material that you're basically taking and throwing out. So if there's not a need to do that, I would not do it. So like I said in the video, Mike, like most things in life, the best answer is it depends. It depends. So, your mileage will vary. It depends on your particular soil. All right. Gary says, the reason why I'm asking is because about the clover is we are warming up, but be ready to cool back off here in Chicago. Yeah. I mean, if you want to knock it out now, get rid of it now, Gary, there's nothing wrong with that. If it's bothering you and you think that, you got a herbicide that will target it, go for it. I would, your chances of injuring the turf are less whenever temperatures are milder than if you decide you're going to go after the clover when it gets hotter. Granted, when it gets hotter, the clover is not going to be liking life either, but you also could, damage your grass in the process of trying to get rid of it too. So if you feel that spraying out the clover is something that you want to do, now this time of year would be a good time to do it. All right, no Oliveira is up. It says, "Hey Ron, on your month by month breakdown, it states Caravan G in late May. Would that be enough for the month, or is that in addition to Headway G? That would be enough. So yes. So if you look here. So what he's talking about, guys and gals, for those that are watching, on the store we have a schedule. So if you look, go to guides and then lawn care schedule, and then you click on the month by month product application schedule. It takes you to the month by month breakdown. And if we go to the month of May, in the month of May, it says you can do Caravan G. So there's a couple options. Caravan G is a combination insecticide and fungicide. You can do Caravan G, and you say, I note here, instead of Headway G and Acelepryn G, because Acelepryn is an insecticide, Headway G is a fungicide. If you apply Headway, you would not need to use if you apply Caravan, you would not need to use Headway G in the same month. Now, if you're going to do 2 fungicide applications, you could start with Caravan in May, and then in June, you could use Headway G, or you could use Pillar SC. So you could use Headway, or you could use this. You could use the new liquid and some fungicides. You could use this guy, or you could use this guy. So if granulars are your jam, go for Headway. If liquids are your jam, go for Pillar SC. So it is one or the other. So it's either Acelepryn and Headway, or Acelepryn and Pillar, or it is Caravan. And that's for the month of May. If you're going to do another fungicide application in June, you would not use Caravan again, because you don't want to be doubling up on the insecticide. There's no reason to do it, to hit the lawn with insecticide 2 months in a row. At that point, I would transition to just a straight fungicide product like Headway if you want a granular G, like Headway G if you want a granular, or Pillar SC if you want a liquid. So to answer your question, no. Only Caravan in next month, and then if you're going to do a fungicide application in June, do either Pillar or do Headway. So, hope that helps. All right, Robert Rainey says, the way you compare martial arts to lawn care is how I view golf and lawn golf. I mean, lawn care is never perfected. Yeah, there you go. That's exactly it. So with golf, same thing, right? Golf is a game of good misses, right? You know what I mean? Like you think about like an amateur. The difference between an amateur and a pro is that a pro typically doesn't hit 2 bad golf shots in a row. Like you look at them, they rarely always hit their. I mean, I don't think they hardly ever hit every fairway. They hardly ever hit every single green in a round of golf. But the thing with them, you'll notice, is if they hit a bad shot, like they get off in the rough, like they'll hit 1 bad shot, but they typically don't hit 2 bad shots. They'll hit 2 bad shots in a row. And if they hit one in the bunker, like they've done it so much, they can get out, and they don't panic when they are in a bad situation. Whereas an amateur, typically a bad shot compounds. You hit 1 bad shot and you're thinking, I can do it. I can get through that one. There's a 4-inch gap there. I can thread the ball through there. I can do it. I can feel it. Now, granted, if you were that good, the ball wouldn't be where it is now in the first place. But you still try it, and next thing you know, you end up with a snowman on a course that should have been like a par 4. You end up you blowing up your score. So, but yeah, to your point, Robert, the chase is what it's all about. It's all about the journey. That's the fun of it. All right, okay. Lawn Care says, I thought this was on Friday nights. It is on Friday nights. It's just tonight, because on tomorrow night is the black belt test. So here's the thing: in our style, twice a year, in the spring and in the fall, there's a black belt test. So you can only test your black belt in the springtime and in the fall time. And so there's 2 weekends out of the year that I either have to cancel the live stream or move it 1 day earlier, because the black belt tests are always on Friday nights. So the live stream's on Friday nights. So it's either I don't do the test, which I can't not do that. And then, or the live stream gets moved up a day, which you guys hopefully will be tolerant of twice in a year. Hopefully that's not too much of an ask. So that's why you're seeing it tonight. Okay, lawn guy. This is not the way it's going to be. Next week we'll be back to our normal time, and it'll be this way for the next 6 months until October-ish. And then at which point it will be a week or a day early or whatever. Although in October, it might be out of town. So I may have to, I don't know, we'll make it shorter or something. I might have to do something different. We shall see. We'll see. We'll have to adjust. But yeah, it's only typically a twice a year thing. It's not a common thing. The Maestro on Instagram says, I got some decent green up, but I have a few areas where the stolons are visible and there are no blades growing upwards. What should I do about those spots? Just give it time. Give it time. It's still early in the season. Give it time. It will the lawn will thicken up. It will begin to grow in. Keep mowing, and it will eventually root in and take off once temperatures get a bit hotter, maestro. It's still relatively early in the season, especially given the cold snap that we had late last month. So don't panic just yet. I wouldn't panic just yet. All right, next up is Fred J627. I'm sure you have said it. What style of martial arts do you practice? I practice Tung Sudo. So it is a Korean. So everyone's heard of Taekwondo, right? So if you think of Tung Sudo, is the sister to Taekwondo. They're both Korean martial arts. Taekwondo is more around competition, competing, and Tung Sudo is more about the art. So we have weapons. We do although in Taekwondo they have some weapons too, but I mean, we do a lot of it's a lot of forms, weapons, and it's just a different style. It's just two different focuses, but they're both Korean. So when we do our forms, like our forms are in Korean. So like my form is called Kung Sang Kun. That's the name of it. We talk about when we do the test or the techniques are called out in Korean. So like one of the techniques I'll be calling out tomorrow night will be like upchagi, yupchagi, which means like front kick, side kick. So it'll be the commands are called out in Korean for the chodans, for the people that are testing to black belt, for first degree black belt. We call it out in Korean, but then we also give the translation in English, and we demonstrate it. But for anybody that's going to higher ranks, if you're like a first degree black belt and you're trying to go to second degree, or second degree going to third, you only get Korean. You're supposed to know the Korean. So for all we do in the style, as far as like all the commands, the names of the forms, like a punch is a kung kuk, a block is maki, like all that is in Korean. It's not in English. When we count, it's in Korean. It's like hana, tool, set, net, tasa, yasa. It's all in Korean. So we do that. So we're trying to stay a little bit more traditional. And that's what the style is about. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. You meet a lot of really cool people, sweat a lot, and it's something you can do from 8 till 80. You can do it like your entire life. You know what I mean? So that's kind of cool. There's not many things that you can do your entire life and still have fun with it, And martial arts is one of those things. All right, Jimmy Miller is up next. He says, happy Friday, Ron. Love the Celsius. Just order some certainty for the complete package. Good luck this weekend. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Getting out there, sweating, mixing it up with everybody. And then, okay, long guy. I totally remember P90X. It's a good program. It's hard. Even now, it's still hard. But yeah, P90X is a good way to get into shape. All right, Quality Assurance Man says, any new tips on new Bermuda sod? I just got the house in December. The grass is waking up, but so are the weeds. I've been using RGS to get the roots going. What should I do? I would get a soil test done. Quality Assurance, let me go over here. I would get a soil test done, Quality Assurance Man. Based on the soil test results, I would use that to choose the fertilizer that you should be using on your lawn and then fertilize accordingly. You have Bermuda. So Bermuda, you're fine. So if you have Bermuda, because you have Bermuda and you did it in December, I would also get a pre-emergent down. Granted, you're a little bit late to be doing pre-emergent to get the most effectiveness out of it, but it's still going to help. Bermuda will tolerate pre-emergent just fine after if it was sodded in December. So I would do that. So let me show you really quick. We go to the store. If you go to here's the sequence. You would go to eliminate weeds in your lawn. Eliminate weeds. Get a soil test done, fertilize your lawn based on the soil test results, and then do a lot of mowing, and you can get a great lawn. As far as getting rid of the weeds for Bermuda, if you go to shop in the weed killer section, a great herbicide or a great combination of herbicides are Celsius and Certainty. You heard me mention it a bunch of times here in the live stream, and people also mentioned it. Like, these two are excellent for cleaning up weeds in Bermuda grass while not injuring the grass. So there are other herbicides out there, but you have to be very careful with them in that while they will kill the weeds, they can also discolor your grass. Celsius and Certainty are, of the various options out there, are very unlikely to do that when applied at the correct rate. So they're very effective against weeds, but also very gentle to your grass. So these are what you call post-emergent herbicides. These will kill the weeds that you already see. Now, to prevent more weeds from forming, what you want is a type of herbicide called pre-emergent. So if you go down here just to page 2, or if you're on a browser, go over here to pre-emergent, you click on that, and that's going to filter out all the other stuff and just show you these guys. What you can use is, if you're just starting out, just get prodiamine in a granular, like this one right here, and apply that over your lawn, that is going to help prevent new weeds from forming in your lawn. Now, again, it's the time to really do this with Bermuda grass, if you're in the Southeast, would have been really early last month, so early March, late February is really the best time for it. But it's still better to do it than not do it at all. Like, you're still going to get some benefits from it. So I would get prodiamine. I would do that on your lawn. I would still do that this time of year. And then I would look into using Celsius Celsius and Certainty to clean up the weeds that you have in your lawn. So that takes care of the weed problem. So, pre-emergent to prevent weeds, Celsius and Certainty to kill existing weeds in your lawn. Now, when we talked about fertilization, the question you might have is, what fertilizer should I use on your lawn? Glad you asked. The way to determine which fertilizer you should use is by getting a soil test. So you go, get back to shop, go to the soil test section, and pick up one of these soil test kits. These are really easy to use. You're going to walk around your lawn. In the product description, you're going to see a video that shows how to do a soil test. I explain how it works, how to go out and pull cores, how to use the test kit, how to in this next video, and how to interpret the soil test results. If you still have questions, you can always email me and I can help you out. But based on what you get from using this, you will then be able to come over to the fun part of the golf course lawn store, which is the fertilizer section, right? And then you'll be able to know which one of these is the best fit for your soil, which liquids are the best fit for your soil. And then you can just go to town and have fun and start dominating the neighborhood and ask your neighbors, have your neighbors asking you why your lawn looks better than theirs. But it is a process. So we got, your post-emergent herbicides to kill the existing weeds, the pre-emergent to prevent new weeds, soil test, which you only have to do that really once for this time of year. And then based on that, you can build out a feeding program on how you're gonna fertilize the lawn. And after that, all it is to do is just to mow it. Just mow and mow some more, and you can't help but have a great looking lawn. So hope that helps, quality assurance, man. If you have other questions, we do have a course. We have the Golf Course Lawn Academy that is also on the store. It's a paid course. If you go to here and Lawn Academy, this is our paid course. It gets you more focused instruction. Also gets you access to one of the best parts is the Facebook group, which has got, I don't know, there's a lot of members in there. We're coming up on 100 people in there right now. That also are all really also focused on improving their lawns. You can bounce ideas and questions off of. So it's a really great community that is private, and that's part of what you get from joining the academy. It's a one-time thing. You buy it one time, you own it forever. It also gets you a discount on some products in the golf course lawn store. It's the only way to get a recurring discount in the store. Like all the other discounts we have are only like a one-time use. But with the Academy members, because I figure, hey, you guys are investing in your lawns, you're going to be doing this, you're serious about it. There's a way for you to save a little bit of money and basically have it pay for itself as you go throughout buying products over the course of the season. So there is that. So hope that helps. I threw a lot at you. And outside of that, if you say, hey, you know what, the course, I don't want to spend any money right now. That's too much right now, too much for me. You've got all of this free blog content. So if you go to guides and then you go to like the lawn care schedule, this is a free guide that covers spring, summer, fall, and winter lawn care. If you go to the blog, there's tons of topics in here on how to aerate your lawn, safe lawn care for pets, type of organic fertilizer, best type of fertilizer to use in the spring, what are biostimulants. So you can learn a ton. You go to the blog section and get an excellent education in lawn care just by hanging out there. But it's a lot to read. If you want the more distilled down, just what you need to know in a more focused option, then the Academy is the way to go. And like I said, there's other benefits, discounts on the store, and also the really cool Facebook group, which is a lot of fun. We have a great time in there. So hope that helps. I threw a lot at you, but at least you have an idea of where you can start in your lawn, and just enjoy the process. It's a journey, and just you're not gonna fix it all overnight, and that's good, because if you could fix it overnight, then you wouldn't have anything else to do, right? And that wouldn't be fun. All right, Fairway Bermuda is up next. He says, "What's up, Ron? Just speaking. Not too much fairway. I'm doing all right. Hopefully you're doing well, sir." And he said, "Okay, Lon says there was a time in my life when I was into running and I ran multiple marathons and half marathons. Then dad life started." I hear you. I can understand that. That's a lot of work. Like training for marathons and then like surviving a marathon is that's one thing I've never done. I've never run a marathon. That's something I actually don't enjoy. You would think so, because I'm tall. And like running would be something you think I'd be good at, but I actually don't like running. I don't enjoy it. I mean, not that I can't do it, I just don't enjoy it. I'd much rather do like hundreds of push-ups and burpees for like hours on end than run. I just don't really care for it. I prefer like calisthenics than just sitting here and just running. It's kind of it's kind of, for me, I find it boring, but there's some people that love it. They live for it. But you know, that's it. Different strokes for different folks. All right, Robert Rainey says the 2.20 will come to an end rather soon. I need to bring it back up because I have 4 large bags of level mix that need to go down soon. I got you. I hear you. That's very cool. That makes sense. It's a good reason to bring the high to cut back up. A very good reason to bring it back up. And then Louis saying it took 3 hours to do an acre. It's good exercise, and you're going to get an Alex Sterling down the road. That's very cool. Cody says, is humic HG a decent substitute for core aerating? No, it is not. No, it is not. It is the only thing that is a substitute for core aerating is core aerating. There's nothing that really that it's its own thing. It's like no. There's no other way to say it. It's just like there's nothing that you could find in a bottle or in a bag that replaces physically removing cores from your soil profile to allow air, water, and nutrients to get down. There's nothing that replaces that. If there were, golf courses would do it, and they don't. So there's not. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with humic HG or any of the other products that help with help improve microbial activity. They help with compaction. I'm not saying there's not any value in them. They do help, but they are not as good as core aeration. Like literally, you can take a lawn that is highly compacted, you core aerate it, and it's not going to be highly compacted anymore once you're done. You take these products and you can apply them, and you can do probably multiple rounds, and it may get a little bit better, but it's going to take a lot longer, and the net result is still not going to be as good as if you just get out there with a core aerator, or you pay someone to come core aerate it for you. There is that. So no, it's not a good substitute. What I would do, Cody, is I would take the US, the American approach, right? This is, can you have like McDonald's or Burger King? Why not both? Why not core aerate and humic HG or whatever the product is? Why not do both of them? So I would core aerate and use that product. That's the best of both worlds, right? That's what I do. I do I core aerate, then I'll throw like Essential G down. I'll still throw the carbon kit down. I'll still do my biostimulants right after core aerating. I do them both at the same time. There is that. And OK Lon says, my plugs turn into rocks. In that case, you would want to pick them up. So in your case, that would make a lot of sense. Okay, so we got a super chat from none other than the folks at Real Rollers.
Super chat received.
Thank you so much for that, Real Rollers. I really do appreciate it. You know what? Because you're my buddy, I don't think Fred will mind, and because of the generous super chat, granted, Fred did do $10 more than you. However, because it is getting late, and Fred has had his name in lights for the most of the evening, I think he'll be willing to share for a little while. I mean, he'll be in good company. So we'll say, Fred and Real Rollers, thank you for the super chat. Your names in lights for whatever that means to you. Thank you so much for the generous super chat. Appreciate all of the love and support. And guys, again, Real Rollers, they got again, I was there, and I'm probably gonna get in trouble for saying this, but I know they got some trimmers in. So if you're looking for a real mower, I think they had some 20-inch trimmers in. So if you want one of those, I would hit them up, give them a call, give Lee a call. He can make it happen. So yeah, because true cuts are really hard to come by these days. I mean, even ordering par trimmers is really hard to come by. So if you want a trimmer, nothing wrong with that. And I know Real Rollers is getting some in. So give them a call. I don't know if the 20 inches that they have now are already sold, but they are going to be getting them. So if you want a real mower and a trimmer is going to work for you, get on the list so you get one sooner than later. Because once everyone their grandmother decides they want to start having awesome lawns, it takes longer and longer to get equipment. So there is that. All right, sir. Thanks so much for the super chat again. I appreciate all the love and support. Next up, we got not Marvin Powles. We got Philip Hong. He says, regarding scalping from my previous comments, 2 to 3 inches of thatch. Okay. How would you approach it? I have a rotary and a California trimmer. I also have a string trimmer and a rotary scissors. Okay. So you're trying to scalp, you're trying to go from 2 to 3 inches down. I didn't see what you're trying to go down to, Philip. If you're trying to take 2 to 3 inches down to real mowing heights, your rotary mower is what I would start out with, because that should be able, like most rotary mowers, if you drop them all the way down, can normally get down to 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. So let it do most of the brunt of the work. Like you make a lot of passes with the rotary mower, so you get it down to 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, and then you can transition to the California trimmer to do your scalping. The thing I would say is, scalping is hard on equipment. So if you scalp with a trimmer and you get too aggressive, meaning if you take it all the way down to the dirt, like if you go like really below half an inch, you're likely to get in the dirt in some areas, which means you're going to need to do a sharpening afterwards. So if you want to go a little more gentle, less aggressive with it, and limit your scalp to like a 3/4 inch scalp, you can probably get by with scalping the lawn and not having to sharpen the mower after the fact. But it's really up to you. I am a fan of scalping slightly lower than the height of cut you intend to maintain. So if you're going to maintain the lawn at 3/4 of an inch, you really need to be scalping at about half an inch. If you're going to maintain the lawn at 1 inch, scalping at 3/4 of an inch will be just fine. You know what I mean? But just the big thing to keep in mind is that scalping is hard on equipment. And not that you're going to damage it or anything, but if you scalp with your reel mower, with your trimmer, it is likely that you are going to have to get it sharpened after the fact. Here's the thing though, if you're going to do it now, like get it scalped now, get the mower sharpened now, because you don't want to have to, the longer you wait, the longer like the backlog is going to be, the longer it's going to take for shops to get your equipment back to you. So if you're going to go out and do it with the trimmer, then I would do it sooner than later. But as far as what you described, I would start with your rotary, let it do a lot of the heavy lifting, getting it down to like as low as it can go, then transition to the reel mower, and then you should be, you'll be good to go at that point. And just plan for a sharpening depending on how aggressive you get with the scalp. Rotary scissors are not like, I wouldn't scalp along with rotary scissors. That's going to take way too long. That's not, and you still have to go clean up everything after you're done, right? Like a rotary scissors doesn't have a grass catcher. No, I would not use rotary scissors to scalp your lawn. I would use a rotary mower and then go to a reel mower. And that is the approach that I would take. So hope that helps. All right, let's see here. Harper says it was 82 days ago and it snowed early this morning. That is insane. Nobody has a nice lawn in Boise yet. That's good. So you still got time. I wouldn't sweat it. You are good to go. You're good to go. And he says both mowers get bogged down and the ground is pretty bumpy. Yeah. So what that's telling you, if the mower's getting bogged down, you're trying to take too much off at one time. So if you're at 3 inches with the rotary, maybe take it from like 3 inches to 2.5 inches or 2.25 inches. Like make a pass doing that, and then take it down a little bit more and make another pass. So scalping is best done in phases. Like doing it, like stepping it down slowly. You're going to get a better result by doing it that way. So yeah, I would just step it down, and then eventually you'll get to the point where you're only on the reel mower, and then it shouldn't bog that much. If you're just taking it down in like 1/4 inch increments when it comes to your reel mower, that should produce a pretty good result. And then Oki Lon says, "Congrats on the black belt." Yeah, man, I'm actually a 3rd degree. I'm not just a black. I'm just a black belt, but I've been a black belt since 20. I don't know. It's 4 years. So since 2011. So 12, 13, 14, 15. So at least till it's either 15 or 16. So it's since 2015, 2016, I've been a black belt. But right now I'm a 3rd dan. So I'm a 3rd degree. So the next thing would be hopefully getting advantage of the master's camp. We'll see. And that's a 2-year process to test a 4th degree. So it just never ends. Like your grass, it never ends, right? It's just, you think you're getting better, and it just starts all over again. The hazing starts all over again. The sweat starts all over again. You become a white belt all over again when you're about to test for your next rank, which is cool. Keeps you sharp. All right. Next up, KT Patriot says, "Can you sand level while the lawn is under PGR suppression?" Yes, you can. Most of the time, most of the videos that you've seen me level, or all the videos you've seen of me leveling my lawn, the back lawn, the lawn has been under regulation. All of them, where I have done it. All of the ones in the back lawn has been under regulation. The front lawn, where I've done it with just soil, those I tend to do like in early April, and it's not under regulation then. But all the videos you see of me top dressing the back lawn, the lawn's got PGR on it when I'm doing that. I would not recommend it if it's the first time, because it's just going to take longer for the lawn to recover. It's not like it's never going to recover. It will just take longer. So if it's your first time, don't use growth regulator. Wait for go ahead and top dress it. And then once it recovers, then you can add PGR. And, but if you've been through a couple of rounds of top dressing already, you can feel free to use growth reg, and it'll take a little bit longer to bounce back, but it'll recover. There's no problem at all. Let's see. Okay, Lawn Guy says, "What can be sprayed on POA for cool season grass?" There's not a lot that's really great for killing Poa annua as a post-emergent in cool season grass. What a lot of people will do as a strategy is they will spray POA with Primo Maxx. They'll spray it with this. And by doing that, you'll suppress, one of the things that Primo does, it helps suppress seed heads. So what makes POA look ugly in a cool season lawn is the white seed heads that flower in the middle of it. So it makes it stick out like a sore thumb in an otherwise green lawn. If you use Primo on it, that will suppress it from forming seed heads, and then it does a better job of blending in with the existing grass. There are products like PowerCure and some other ones that are being tested, but they're not rated for use on residential lawns. So as far as post-emergent herbicides that work well on residential lawns on cool season grass against Poanua, there's not a lot of great options. Most people will use Primo. One, they'll use pre-emergent to prevent it in the first place. That's thing one. Use a good pre-emergent program to prevent it from becoming a problem, and then saving that, you can use Primo to suppress seed head formation, and then you won't really see it as much. It's still going to be in the lawn, but it's not going to stick out like a sore thumb. Versus if you don't use Primo and it's able to flower, and then you get these white seed heads all throughout the lawn, and it looks terrible. So there is that. So hope that helps. Okay, lawn guy. You're very welcome, quality assurance guy. And it says, how much is the Academy? Currently it's $149. The price is at the end of this season, or maybe during the season, the price is going to go up again. It was $99, then it went up to $149. And then I'm going to be adding more content to it this season, and the price will increase again. So, and the nice thing is you buy it at this price now, it doesn't, like, you get the new content for no additional cost, but it is going to go up over time. So when more content gets added throughout this year, it's going to go up again. But right now it is $149. You buy it once and you own it forever, as long as the internet is around and Teachable is around. You will have access to it. There is that. All right, let's see. He says, thank you for the liquid fert and help with the fungicide this week. You are very, very welcome. Real Rollers. Yeah. So Real Rollers is putting down. They're really putting down like Turfplex on the turf park, and also, like I was telling you guys, like now is a good time to get that preventative fungicide down. So he was putting down a preventative fungicide on all three plots, on the two zoysia plots and on the Bermuda plot. So is all good to go. So if you guys have not considered doing it yet, it is a good, kind of like it's insect damage. It is better to prevent it than have to fix it after the fact. So I just put it out there. Like a bag of Headway or a bottle of Pillar SC, yes, it's not inexpensive, but it lasts a long time on most lawns, and it's the one thing you do not want is to put all this time and energy in creating a great lawn, and then you have like a disease problem that makes it look ugly for several weeks. So just something to consider. All right, Robert Wallace, Mr. Clemson is in the house. He says, hey, Ron, hope all is well. I am well. He says, looking forward to the Clemsons, the Bulldogs. Oh, you said Clemson. Sorry, I can't. Sometimes it's getting late. I can't read that well. I thought I saw Clemson. I thought I saw Georgia. Clemson's spring game on Saturday. Okay, that sounds good. You guys need to warm up. I'm not sure when Georgia's going to start playing, but yeah. Yeah, it's fine. Let Clemson get ready, get started on their bid for a national championship. We'll see if they can make it happen against the reigning Georgia Bulldogs. Go Dogs. All right, next up is Bill Stewart. He says, I hate running as well. Also understand motivation. I do cross-country cycling, have made several trips, with the biggest one being from San Diego to Portland, Maine. Why? Wait, Portland, not Portland, Oregon, Maine, like Maine, the northeast Maine? So like San Diego, so carry the, you've ridden a bike across the country? Good man. Respect. That is hardcore, man. That's something else. Wow. I can't even imagine how you even plan for something like that. That's wow. Impressive. All right. Bill says, but I couldn't run across a parking lot. Yeah, I do it. We have to do it sometimes at the studio, but I'm not a runner. I don't like running. I can do it. I just don't like running. All right. Okay. Lon says, hey, Ron, I mowed a few lawns in my neighborhood that are Bermuda. Should I be scalping them the first mow and bagging the clippings, or mulch them? If you are going to scalp, I would highly recommend you bag the clippings when you are scalping. One of the benefits of scalping, or one of the biggest benefits of scalping, is to remove thatch and debris in the lawn that's built up over the late fall and winter months. So you wouldn't want to cut all that stuff off and just dump it all back in the lawn, right? You want to cut it off and get it out. So even if you don't bag all the clippings for every single mow, for the first mow of the season, especially if you're going to scalp, I absolutely would bag the clippings and get those out. That's you're really hampering yourself from a lot of benefits of scalping if you just get out there and just cut the lawn really short and just throw all the garbage right back into the lawn. So you want to get it out of the lawn. So yeah. Wise Guy says, "What's up, Ron? I see all as well. I'm hanging in there, man. Got to see you, Wise Guy. Got to see you, Perry. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully all is going well in your world. I haven't seen you in a while, so thanks for coming to check in on me. I appreciate you." JL says, "What kind of grass do they have at Augusta?" The base grass is actually Bermuda grass, believe it or not. It's actually Bermuda, but what you see during the Masters is ryegrass. It's Bermuda that's been overseeded with rye, and then the greens, I believe, are bent grass. But the fairways, like all this looks really lush and green, looks amazing, incredible. That is Bermuda that's overseeded with ryegrass. So there's that. No Name says, "Reminder to tap the like button." Definitely, guys. It's not too late. If you're not hit the like button yet, you can still do it. Antoine says, "When will I be able to see the results using Heritage SC fungicide?" So Heritage, so that is azoxystrobin. It's like most of them. So it's the same thing you would see with like with Headway or with Pillar SC. It's once you apply the fungicide over the next 2 weeks or so, 2 to 3 weeks, you will see an improvement in the area that was damaged. Because what fungicide does, it arrests or it stops the disease from spreading and getting worse, and then that allows your lawn to recover, allows the grass to heal and grow in. So I would expect, I would expect 2 to 3 weeks for you to see improvement to where it's going to be a lot less noticeable, and then as time goes by, it's just going to get better and better. If you're dealing with an active disease problem in the lawn, Antoine, you're going to want to do a follow-up application 21 days later. So you applied, Heritage now. 21 days later, you're gonna do another application. You don't want to just do just one of them if you're treating an active fungus or disease problem in your lawn. You want to do two, one and then another one 21 days later. OK Lawn says, "Hazing? It's not really hazing. You mean the black belt test? No, it's not hazing. It's not. I mean, here's the thing. The hard part is really the pre-test. Like at our studio, you don't get to go to the main test until you get through the pre-test. Like the pre-test is like 4 hours of not fun. Like the pre-test, it's like if you survive the pre-test, the actual test, what's going to happen tomorrow night, it feels like a cakewalk. At least in our studio anyway, because the pre-test is designed to weed out whether you want it or not, because it's a lot. It's like you will do hundreds and hundreds. I mean, you'll probably do 400 jumping jacks over the course of 4 hours. You'll likely do conservatively 200 push-ups. And that's if you don't get in trouble for something. If you get in trouble, you'll do more of them. But if you don't get in trouble for something, you'll do 200 push-ups over the course of 4 hours, in addition to doing tons of kick drills, doing all your forms multiple times, doing rolls and falls, doing self-defense, doing partner, hand steps, kick steps. It's just 4 hours of just nonstop. You're just going. And the big thing is to see if you're going to quit. Because the thing with the pre-test, there's nothing in the pre-test that you haven't already learned throughout all the years of training. It's just to see that when you're tired, what is up here like? What happens when you get tired? Can you still push through that? And if you can, then you can get the green light to go to the real test, and the real test is going to feel like a cakewalk because it's not going to be that bad. In other words, the real test is almost like it's like I would say it's not a formality. It's still hard. You're still going to work at it, but the pre-test really proves that you're ready to test to one, either first degree black belt or higher degrees of black belt, because it's not, in our school, it is not easy. It is not fun. It is not a good time. It's not a good time, but it shouldn't be. It needs to mean something, right? It needs to be hard. Like anything in life, anything worth doing should be hard. All right, so Joseph Atkins is up next. He says, "My soil test recommended a triple 12 fertilizer, and I've applied the first application. Should the follow-up applications also utilize the triple 12 throughout the spring and summer? Depends on where your phosphorus levels are. If your phosphorus levels are very low, then yes, you could use that all season long. If your phosphorus levels are just outside of the optimal zone, what you could do is you could do like a couple of applications of the triple 12 and then switch to something like Humic Max. Switch to a product like Humic Max. Reason being is that once you build up phosphorus levels, unlike nitrogen and potassium, phosphorus is a lot less. The word is immobile. It sticks around in the soil a lot longer. It's more resident in the soil than nitrogen and potassium are. So you can likely do a couple of triple 12 apps and then transition to a fertilizer that does not contain phosphorus if you want. So, or you can use that all season long too. That can work as well too. It's really your call. But in most cases, for people, whenever I see that they're just outside the Goldilocks zone, that I'll say, hey, do a couple of apps of fertilizer that contains phos to help raise your phosphorus levels, and then transition to Primo Maxx. That's my general advice. You are very, very welcome. OK Lawn Care says, do you have, OK Lawn Guy says, do you have any experience with the Toro E-Flex? I do not. Looks like a cool mower, but I do not. I've never even used one, never started one. I've never actually seen one in person. So no, I do not have experience with that mower. I'm sure it's pretty cool though. Toro does not build bad equipment, so I would not expect it to be anything less than awesome. Let's see. Ryan Needon says, I used the Celsius for some spot spraying in my yard last week. It has killed off some unwanted weeds, but left some yellow or burn marks where I spray. Mixed too strong, possibly. Could be you mix it. Could be you mix it too strong, and it could also be the application. In the video that I show on applying Celsius and Certainty, whenever you're spraying weeds in a lawn. So let's say that this is your lawn, for the lack of a better term, right? And the middle is here, the middle part is where a weed is. Whenever you are spraying herbicides, when you're spraying, it's very tempting, if you especially got a little weed here in the middle. Let's say like, I'll do this. Let's say like this, I don't have anything. Yeah, I do. This spray nozzle is a weed in your lawn, right? In your otherwise awesome lawn. What most people will do is they'll spray with herbicides and they'll go over it and they'll go, oh, I'll spray it here a couple times, 1 or 2 passes, and then they'll keep going. You can't do that because what really this is one pass. That is one application. That's really all you need at a reasonable rate to where you wet the leaf of the weed you're targeting, but not to the point where it gets so wet that it's running off. So if it gets like it's dripping wet, where you're going like really, really, really slow, or you're going back and forth on it a couple times, that is going to kill the weed, but you also can cause some discoloration in the lawn. So the products are formulated to where they're designed to where at a reasonable walking pace, just one pass over them with the proper spray tip is going to adequately wet the leaf of the weed you're trying to target, and that's going to kill it without discoloring your neighboring grass. So if you're doing this stuff where you're going like back and forth on the weed, that can work, but you're increasing the chances of causing some temporary injury. It's not going to kill the grass, but you're going to cause some temporary yellowing to the surrounding area. So whenever you're spraying herbicides, one pass. That's all it takes. The way they are mixed, the concentration levels, assume that is what you're doing. Not that you're going over it, back and forth, or you're sitting there staying in one spot and really soaking it good. You can do that, but it's going to damage. You can discolor the neighboring grass if you take that approach. So. Hope that helps, Ryan. It's going to recover. It's Bermuda, so it'll bounce back. But I mean, if you get any discoloration with Celsius, especially this time of year, I'm going to say you either mixed it to the concentration was either to it was either you mixed it, or more than likely the application, right? Like you went back and forth over the same area, and then that you're doing double, triple the amount of product than you really need in that area. So. Hope that helps. Don't sweat it. The lawn's going to bounce back. There's still plenty of time in this season. All right. Wise Guy says, I paid the $99 for your content. Do I have to pay again every year? Thanks. No, you do not. You're still in the academy. Like, I mean, I believe I know who this is. And no, you still have access to all the material. Like when you bought it, 'cause you bought it years ago. You were one of the first people that bought it, I believe. I think this is Perry. I think so. If it is, you have the exact same course that the people that bought it like last year when it was $149 have, and you will have the exact same course that the people, whenever the price goes up again, will have. So it's the same price. It's one time. It's not a subscription. It's not a subscription model. It's you buy it one time and you own it forever, and away you go. So you don't have to buy it again. You buy it once and you still have access to it. If you have trouble logging in, just reach out to me, send me an email, and I'll help you out with it. But yeah, you still have access, and you have the exact same access as everyone else that has purchased it or ordered it here recently. So hope that helps. Wise Guy, let me know if you need anything else. Okay, Lon says, one last question. When and what product we recommend for leveling a cool season lawn? The same stuff I recommend for warm season grass. So a blend of sand and compost is what I would say. So 70% sand, 30% compost. That, in my opinion, is the ideal material to use for leveling, because you're getting the leveling aspect and you're also adding some organic material. So you're adding structure and you're also improving the quality of your soil. So 70-30 blend. Outside of that, you can do 100% sand as well too, if that's all you can get your hands on. But if you can, getting a blend is what I would go with. The time to do it, spring and fall, for cool season lawns. And then if for warm season turf, like now, like late spring going into summer, is when you want to do. Whenever the grass is actively growing is actually the most correct answer. So if your grass is actively growing, you're mowing it regularly, you can top dress it. So that's how you can know whether or not you can do it or not. All right, Jonathan Vela says, hey Ron, thank you for your great advice. I currently have a True Cut 25 7-blade. That's a unicorn mower, man. The 25s are hard to find. Is it worth upgrading to a 10-blade? Thank you. I mean, 10 blades do cut better. They do cut better than 7 blades, but it's only, here's the thing. Yes and no. If you're mowing at 3/4 of an inch or lower, and you're the kind of person that can be very diligent, so you're always going to make sure you're mowing, a couple times a week, 2-3 times a week, and that's your jam. That's you're going to be doing no matter what. Then yes, a 10 blade can be good. But if you're one of these people that allows your lawn to grow out and you're going to let it get to an inch, 1.25 inches, then no, I would not recommend a 10 blade. So if your mowing height is shorter and you're able to have the frequency that it's going to require to maintain a lawn at lower heights, and yeah, a 10 blade is going to produce a better cut. Like I have an 11 blade in my Greensmaster, and it came with an 8 blade, and the quality of cut with the 11 blade is better than the quality of cut than I got with the 8 blade at 3/4 of an inch. Like if I took a 3/4 of an inch, if you take a lawn, my same lawn cut with the 8 blade at 3/4 of an inch and cut with the 11 blade at 3/4 of an inch, it looks visually better with the 11 blade. But now if I try and bring the height of cut up much higher than that, that's when it can start bogging and start not being so great to use, right? So you have to be, like when you go to an 11 blade, your operating window or the operating range for height of cut does change. And as well as the mowing frequency, you have to be a lot more disciplined about keeping up with your mowing if you increase the blade count. So it's up to you. I've never even seen a True Cut with a 10 blade, much less used one. I've never used a True Cut with a 10 blade. Mine doesn't have that. So it's your call whether you want to do that or not. I don't know. I mean, but it's going to cut. To answer your question, all things being equal, it's going to cut better. Yes, it is going to cut better. A 10 blade will cut better than a 7 blade. So but then there's the other considerations that I've already spoken to you about. All right, Shelby Amos says, rescue grass still holding on after a heavy certainty 3 weeks ago from your newest weed kill video. Going to hit it again this weekend, 70 to 80s in Fort Worth, Texas. Fusillade, thanks again. You're very welcome, Shelby. I'm glad that it made it. I'm glad that worked out. But yeah, just smack it again and see. Remember, with certainty, the application rate is on the higher range. You may have to go up to that 1.2 ounces or the 2 ounce per acre rate to get a good result against that rescue grass, and use a surfactant with it as well. That'll help. Maybe bump the rate up a little bit and make sure you're using surfactant, and that should do the trick. All right, let's see here. Okay, Lon says, how can I ask my neighbor if I can take over his very small side yard that connects to my lawn? His lawn is full of weeds. I don't know how you do. I mean, it depends on the kind of relationship you have with your neighbor. Some neighbors will get mad about it. Some will be like, oh, sure, dude. Some will probably say, hey, I wonder what took you so long to ask. So I don't know. I think the only way to ask them is to ask them, but you have to know, I don't know what your relationship is like. I mean, if you guys get along and you talk and you say, hey, I'm always mowing, and I notice that, whenever I'm spraying my products, sometimes like some of it gets into your lawn, and it's no bother to me. It takes me like an extra 10 minutes to cut this one area. If it doesn't bother you, I can take care of it if you want. It's completely up to you. You could take that approach, and some people will be like, sure, and some people will be highly offended. So it just depends on your neighbor. I don't know your neighbor, so it depends. If you guys get along well, it might be okay, but it just depends. It also depends on whether they like cutting their grass themselves or not. It sounds like not, because it's full of weeds, but I don't know. It depends. You're gonna have, better than us, man. I don't know your neighbors, so I can't tell you for sure. I would say just tread carefully. Be careful. All right. Jay Hernan is up next. He says, hello, Ron, big fan from Texas. He says, lawn is 1.5 years old. How can you get your lawn to green up faster at the beginning of the season? Scalping it. We'll do that. Some neighbors are thriving with green lawns, mine is semi-dormant. So scalping will help that, and ensuring that your nutrient levels in your soil are good will also help that. So Scalping helps more heat and sunlight to reach the turf, which will help it green up sooner. And then getting a soil test done and fertilizing according to that soil test will ensure that you have the right amount of nutrients, the right nutrient makeup in your lawn. That also is going to help it wake up. Also, when it comes to lawn care, I'm a huge fan of biostimulants. So like a product like, if I can show you here, if you go to shop in the Miramichi Green biostimulant section, a product like Essential G, this will help your lawn green up sooner in the spring and go dormant later in the fall. Like my lawn is my lawn and Alex's lawn are one of some of the first lawns to green up in the neighborhood, and we're some of the last lawns to go dormant in the fall. So between soil testing, our mowing practices, and regular granular biostimulants applications, like that will help it green up sooner. From where you are now, where you're just getting started, I would say scalp it, get a soil test done, fertilize the lawn, and then mow it. Believe it or not, mowing will help your lawn green up, right? Because it stimulates new growth. So mowing, get out there and start mowing it. That's also going to help as well too. So hope that helps, Jay. It's a good question. And welcome to the craziness that is DIY lawn care. It's a lot of fun. Wise Guy says, yep, it's me from Alabama. I thought that's who it was. Yeah, you still have access, man. So if you have any problems, just email me, ron@golfcourselawn.com, and I'll help you out. And then he says he's actually very quiet and rarely comes outside. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. Maybe catch him when he's outside. I don't know. It can either go really well or it can go very badly. There's not a whole lot of in between on that one. So you know better than me. I don't know. I mean, do you know him? When you have barbecue, do you ever invite him over for a barbecue? Do you guys ever have a beer together? Do you ever, whatever? Do you have that kind of relationship? Or is he like, he's your neighbor, but you never talk to him? It's a sensitive thing to ask somebody. Like if someone came to me and said, hey, can I mow your lawn? Or, well, I don't know. I mean, it depends. No, I mean, it depends. It depends on the relationship with the person. It really depends, man. It depends on the relationship. That's the thing. It might go bad. I'm inclined to say no. I would say, the more I think about it, I would say the fact that you guys don't have a good relationship, or because it's not like you're close, I'm leaning towards no. Don't just let it go. Deal with the fact that it's got weeds. And if you see him out one day, you might then you can bring it up, but I would not go knock on his door and be like, hey man, your lawn's looking like trash and my lawn's not. And I realize you obviously don't like taking care of it. I don't mind taking care of this part for you if you want. Like that, I don't know if that's going to go well. I don't know if it's going to go well. So tread carefully. That's all I can say. All right, guys, gals, I think that is about it. We are at the end of all the questions. You guys are letting me out here a little bit early, which I appreciate, so I can get some sleep because it's going to be a long weekend. Again, the core aeration blog is live. It will be at the pinned comment at the end of the show. We have the new Pillar SC fungicide. So if you are looking for a dual action, so 2 different active ingredients in a single bottle that treats up to an acre with a super easy measuring application rate. So it's 1 ounce, 1,000 square feet. 1 ounce, 1,000 square feet. That's it. For curative or for preventative, give this a look. We got this in stock now, and it's shipping now. So you got another option for liquid fungicide if you want to go that route. Definitely, guys, I really appreciate all the love and support. Appreciate you guys coming to hang out. And of course, we always got to throw on our closeout music. Instagram, thank you guys for coming to hang out. And Trucking saying, surprised your lawn NPK was low after loading it up, which you're in good shape. Again, guys, thanks all. Appreciate you guys coming to hang out in the show. If I can help with anything, definitely let me know. Get out and do something fun in your lawn this weekend. Wish me luck this weekend. And we will catch up next week. Take care.